What's going on? This is Troy.
It's Rashad.
And we are Earn Your Leisure.
Yes, and check us out on the Bootleg Kev podcast. We talk about investing. We talk about rap. We talk about fashion. We talk about everything, man. It's a dope episode. Check it out.
Yeah, tap in.
Bootleg Kev podcast. I've been watching these guys for a very long time. I feel like that they are spearheading a really dope movement of financial literacy in the hip-hop community and communities of color and just younger generations. I've learned a lot from y'all, man. We got the Earn Your Leisure podcast in the building, fellas.
What's going on?
Welcome.
What's up? What up?
It's good.
First things first, how did y'all link up?
We grew up together. So he's 2 years older than me. So I was in 6th grade and he was in 8th grade. And at the time, there was remember this movie, Eddie?
Yeah.
Whoopi Goldberg?
Whoopi Goldberg, which you coached the Knicks, right?
Yeah, she coached the Knicks. That's a fact.
It was they had extras. And so they took a group of kids from our neighborhood and we went to Madison Square Garden and we were extras in the movie. We actually never even made the final cut, but it was a pretty dope experience to be on a movie set. So I was always hanging around with older kids my whole life. So everybody knew me because it was a different school, but I didn't know him because he was new to the neighborhood. So we were all there, and I was always kind of like introverted, so I just stayed to myself. So everybody was talking to me, and he came over and he just like was talking to me like he already knew who I was, and I'm like, who is this? Why is he talking to me? Like, so that's the first time that we met on the set of a movie. I was like 12, he was probably like 14. And yeah, we just been friends ever since.
You've been rocking ever since.
Yeah.
What was like for me, because like, well, this is a random curve because you guys were an Eddie. I do have a random, when I watch these basketball movies that get filmed and there's like real NBA players in them and like people in the crowd, I always wonder if they go in and they like pause a game.
Oh, yeah. No,
and they're like, all right, guys, this is for a movie, or do they like do a whole fake game?
It's a whole. So like, what happened was they took us to the garden and they let us go on the court. And like, if we made a shot, there was people in the crowd. They would cheer, but it would be cheering for us. And so then obviously they would cut in between live footage of real games.
Okay.
But the audience reaction would be actually us on the court. That was the first time we actually got paid for anything.
Were any of the Knicks actually there?
So what's so funny is that they weren't in the movie, but we were in the garden. So they had a game that day. So we were seeing. As we were like wrapping up the shoot, we saw some of the Knicks come in.
Yeah.
What's the era here? Is this like Charlie Ward? Like
this is Charlie
Chris
Ward.
Childs, Allen Houston,
Hubert Davis. I saw him come off, and they were, if I get the date correct, they were playing the Pistons.
Wow.
So it was like Grant Hill was coming to the Garden that night.
So you know what's so crazy is that I'll never forget this. Hubert Davis walks in, right? And it's a group of us. And like we was like little kids, like 12, 13 years old. So we seen Hubert Davis like, Hubert, what's up, man? Can we get your autograph? And he just looked and just kept walking.
And he's not the guy.
I think we might have said something to him. We were
Hubert
like, yo,
Davis,
that's why Jordan would be killing you or something like that.
That's why Mitchell and Ness isn't remaking your jersey, buddy.
Exactly. But it's just crazy because it's like, 20 years later and I still remember that. So you got to be careful how you treat people because you never know, right? And it's like, that's something that even now to this day, we try to, accommodate people the best thing that we possibly can. And if we can't accommodate it, we'll try to like let you know why we can't do this and we got to catch a flight. We got to go.
Right.
I never forget, like we was little kids and we saw him and he was not interested in stopping at all.
As a kid, I had great experiences with some NBA players, but there was two. One of them, it's okay because it was Charles Barkley. He was an asshole outside of a Cardinals game. But the other guy, George McLeod's bum ass from the Suns.
George McLeod.
You remember George McLeod?
Yeah.
Like a fake 3-and-D guy before 3-and-D was a thing. Fuck George McLeod. He was an asshole. It's crazy because like you guys obviously now are, I feel like when it comes to like financial literacy, like I think of you guys in the same vein as I think of a guy like Gary Vee, or even more educational though. Obviously, like I feel like you guys are giving out so much information and have really leveled up the last few years. Is it like, you guys probably go out and get recognized, get stopped all the time at this point, right?
Yeah. Pretty often, man. It's something you get adjusted to.
Right.
But it's not easy at first, right? When you walk around, and we're from New York, so we just got the New York state of mind, like, yo, they looking at me. And then you realize, like, oh, wait, they looking at me because of the things that we've done. But it's cool, man. Everything's been rooted in education. I'm glad that you brought that up. You said, it was more educational because it started in the classroom for us.
Yeah.
We're teaching young kids about financial literacy, then obviously him as a professional doing it for adults, and then realizing, there's really no age limit to this education. We really need to give it to everybody. So it's one of those things that, no age limit.
outside of the content game, obviously you guys are very successful in creating great content with real substance. What, before you guys got into doing this podcast, what was like your guys' main sources of income?
I was a teacher.
Okay.
So I was a middle school teacher. I taught health and phys ed.
The PE guy.
The PE guy. I was a PE. The number one place that kids love to go is, is the gym.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I had it great, man. Only until I got into the classroom, I'm like, yo, what am I doing here?
Right.
But it helped me, man. It helped me with structure. It helped me with lesson planning. And it also helped me see what was being taught to kids. Mm-hmm. And like after I saw like my classroom teachers, I'm just like, yo, what are we teaching these kids? Like, they're not going to use any of this. And that was kind of the thing that spawned me, like, yo, there's an opportunity to teach kids things that are going to be applicable in the future, financial literacy being one of them. And so it kind of became the thing was like, yo, if I'm going to get paid for this, I'd rather be a service than a disservice. And so we had an opportunity in the summer to create a program. And during the program, we were going to pay the kids based on how they performed at their internships. And, it was $500, which is a lot for a 14-year-old. And it was like, yo, if we don't teach them the value of money and the things you can do with it and how it can be used as a tool, it's going to be the same cycle. And so it was like, yo, if we give them information now, let's see what they'll be at in the future. And so education, and like I said, has always been a route for me.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
And it cuts through. What about you?
I was a financial advisor.
So you were kind of helping.
So same type of vein, what I was doing now, what I am doing now. So yeah, helping people with their finances, investing, insurance, retirement planning. And that's kind of how I had the idea to go on social media, because I saw that there was a need for it. Mm-hmm. I saw the gap. I saw how little people knew about finances, even very educated people, doctors, lawyers. They didn't know about the basics when it comes to investing. So it's like, all right, vast majority of people in this world need the information, and social media was and is I think the best way to reach the masses. And that was the idea, was like, all right, let's really double down on social media and use this as a platform to spread the message.
Yeah, I mean, even me as like a successful guy up until maybe like 4 or 5 years ago when I really started watching y'all shit. Like I feel like I learned how to like really leverage my credit and leverage credit cards in your favor through you guys. Like a lot of shit I was not doing. You know what I mean? Like then I'm like, oh shit, there's like, and like I know that there's some states, I think there was a state, it might have been Florida. I don't want to give Ron DeSantis too much credit. But I think Florida might be introducing financial literacy as a...
Yeah. Florida, New Jersey. It's like 20-something states now that have mandated financial literacy. It's still not in New York, where we're from. It's still not in the majority of states, but there are more and more states that's looking to implement that.
Yeah. For you guys... we're kind of in a weird place in terms of the economy, because like we just got out of this like, this thing that didn't make sense, and that was COVID, and somehow during a pandemic, everything shot through the roof. The real estate shit was insane. This isn't real. I kept telling everybody, guys, there's no way this is real. Like, and I bought a house. I took advantage of that interest rate, and I don't plan on selling it for a very long time. So I made that decision kind of knowing that, I might lose some equity, but it'll be all right in the long run. But what do you like the real estate market's kind of crazy right now. A lot of places are finally kind of correcting. Like, what did you guys take away from the pandemic? Because there was a lot of hard assets that shot through the roof that are correcting now. Like, did you guys learn anything personally about anything? Because you guys, we look at you as like, but I feel like there was a lot of wild shit going on from 2020 to now.
Tons of it, yeah. I think one of the things we stood by was like, there's always opportunities in crisis, like in a crisis. And so 2008, there was a crisis, and it was like, damn, we didn't have the capital to take advantage of it. But we were in prime position at this point to say, all right, the market is pulled back. There's an opportunity to invest in things. You said one of the good things was real estate, right? Like interest rates were at 2.25%. And it was like, wait, this is an opportunity to refinance. So this is an opportunity to use a HELOC. These things we were educated on, so it was like, all right, we're in prime position to take advantage of it. But not only us, it was like, yo, what if our community understood that they could use it to their advantage? And so during that time, we created our show Market Mondays, which is about stock investing. And it took off because people were listening to it, they were getting the information, and they were actually applying it.
You guys were doing that like live on Zoom?
Right? Live every Monday. Yeah. And it was like, wow, people were actually seeing positive returns. And it was like, oh, this is incredible.
Yeah.
And there's one thing, like when you give people information, it's one thing, right? But when you give them information and it puts money in their pocket, it becomes totally different. It's like a totally different relationship now. It's like, wait, I have to come back. In fact, when I come back, I got to tell my friends about it because this is legit. And so we was always rooted in the education of it. But when people started applying, it was like, all right, it took it to a different level.
Yeah, the HELOC thing, something I just recently learned about too, and we could break down what that is. That's obviously that's a line of credit you can take out against your house, right?
Yeah, a home equity line of credit. And it's crazy because people was using that to their advantages. Was like you said, you had equity in your home, you could take it out, you can use it for repairs, or you can use it. And a lot of people are trying to use it for other investments.
Or you could can't you take it out without touching it? And then it's there if you need it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then what happened when we started getting educated around it, people started taking advantage of it. Banks started realizing it, and they were like, all right, well, we're going to stop offering this product.
Crazy.
Right? Because it was like, oh, this is an opportunity that people could use to their advantage. And so it's one of those things, like when you have the education and the timing of situations happen, you got to be prepared for it. You got to be ready to take action because, again, if you don't, they can pull the plug and say, all right, well, it was a great opportunity, but you're going to miss this one.
Do you guys feel like this, like, kind of time that we're getting into with a lot of the real estate kind of correcting, obviously the interest rates are higher, but do you feel like it's soon, I mean it's kind of getting to be not a seller's market, a buyer's market? You would think that that's coming soon. Do you feel like there's going to be some dope opportunities to scoop real estate for a lot cheaper than, I mean, obviously, than a year and a half ago? I think shit was crazy.
There's always opportunities. It's just, it depends geographically where you're at, right? So the LA market is a lot different from Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Where, like, right now, you could probably buy a home in Milwaukee for $30,000, $40,000. You buy a building for $50,000, right? Where you can't even buy a closet for $50,000 in LA, right? So there's always opportunities. It's just a matter of, A, knowing where the opportunities are. But B, is there going to be a massive correction? I don't think it'll be a massive correction.
Right.
It'll probably be some pullbacks in areas like Miami or, certain parts of New York, like where the real estate went up a lot.
Yeah, I saw like Phoenix, Austin, like a lot of those hot markets where things just got really crazy. I feel like they're gonna probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's the number one rule of investing. No matter whether it's Dogecoin, whether it's Tesla stock, whether it's Miami real estate, what goes up must come down.
For sure.
That's just like the most basic way to think about anything in life. And when things start to not make sense, eventually it's going to start to cool off very soon. So like when you hear Miami people paying over $500,000 over asking and $250,000 over asking and buying things in cash, like it just got so crazy the last couple of years. Yeah, it has to pull back eventually because it's just not sustainable.
That's what happened in Phoenix. Like everybody sold their houses here because shit was at all-time high, and they didn't care going to a city like Phoenix that they're moving to, and the houses are so much cheaper. They're like, oh, I'll pay $100 over. That's still like, I'm still getting a mini mansion from where I was just coming from, and I still am pocketing a few $100,000. So, yeah, we'll see, man. On the crypto front, how do y'all feel about crypto now? Because obviously a lot of shit has crashed. I've lost some money for sure. Not as much. But I lost money in 2017 pretty badly because of this fucking guy convinced me to buy all this Ripple.
You didn't sell it.
Yeah, whatever. And you didn't sell it when you had all that money. Anyway, but how do you guys feel about like kind of like, obviously, because I kind of look at crypto as like similar to like the dot-com bubble that happened. There was a lot of low-hanging fruit scam shit going on, but I do feel like the technology of blockchain is something that will probably be around and be, a utility for a long time to come. But how do y'all feel about it?
I think crypto is here. The idea of blockchain technology is very real. It has very real use cases and it's actually being used right now. The functionality and the purpose of crypto still has to kind of be worked out. I feel like it's not something that is really necessary right now. Like they still have to kind of figure it out because even if you look at Bitcoin, which is the most popular cryptocurrency, most people are looking at that as a store of value. They're not looking at it. The word currency is a little misleading because it's not being used as currency.
It's not.
It's being hoarded.
They're parking their money.
Yeah, it's more of an investment, or you're just hoarding it, right? Hoping that it goes up in value.
Nobody's going to the store and pulling out their Bitcoin card and shopping at Target.
Yeah, and in order for currency to be used, there has to be some level of stability. Like I can't get my hair cut today for $20 and then go back tomorrow and it's $50, and then the next week is $10. Like
doesn't make sense.
And that's how volatile cryptocurrency is. So right now we're in a winter for crypto, but historically crypto has always had these cycles where it's going up and then it's going down, then it's going up, then it's going down. So if history repeats itself, it will go up again. But I think it's important to really, if you're going to invest in cryptocurrency, use coins that have a strong chance of surviving. So Ethereum, Bitcoin, you said XRP, different things of that nature, where it's like a lot of these meme coins, like the Dogecoin and a bunch of these other coins, it was just like a get-rich-quick scheme. It wasn't really based around any fundamentals. It wasn't based around any use case. It was just based around, all right, let's just pump this coin.
Yeah, everybody had a coin. My friend who's sitting to the right of me, he thought it was a great idea to invest in a coin that Willie D from the Ghetto Boys was spearheading.
The Willie D coin.
And I was like...
What was the coin called?
And I was like...
Is he from Houston?
I was like... Willie D.
Willie D.
A legend.
Yeah.
For sure.
Shout out to them.
Really Adam.
Yeah, well, you lost all your money.
Yeah. I mean, you said it best. I think when you compared it to the .com, it's a good analogy, right? But the key is, right, when the .com bubble started, you had AOLs and you had Excite.coms, right? But you also had Yahoo and you had Amazon. It's about figuring out which one's going to have the long-term sustainability. And as we get further inside the space of cryptocurrency, and there'll be better and more improved coins. Obviously, he spoke about the two most prevalent ones, but Google comes to 2006, or YouTube comes in 2006, right? So there's an evolution that'll happen, and it'll become more of a use case scenario, and it'll be more improved. But it's not going anywhere, right? We've seen this since 2012. You mentioned 2017. We felt that pain too, right? We had money in the space and didn't take it out.
I shouldn't have sold though.
But it's one of those things, if we're looking at it as a short-term investment or a long-term investment. And so we tend to look at things in the long term, right? So it's a space that we'll be in and we're going to stay in.
Right. For you guys, I always hear like people say like you want to have a diverse portfolio of investments, right? There's real estate, there's the stock market, there's hard assets. Like, what would be your guys' advice in terms of like how that should be broken up?
Yeah, you definitely want to diversify. I mean, as far as real estate, at the very least, you should try to own where you live. That's like a goal that you can at least try to achieve.
And some people who are like really rich say the opposite. They like have investment properties, but they rent where they are.
Yeah. Well, another thing is that for the average person, you can own a multi-family home, right? So it's like, because that idea is that your home isn't really an investment, and if you look at it from that standpoint where it's not actually bringing you cash flow, then that's true.
Right.
But if you have a multi-family home, and I don't know if there's a lot of multi-families in California, but I know
there are actually.
Yeah. So if you have a multi-family, now that is an investment that is bringing you cash flow, and potentially can be, you could be making money on that as opposed to just shuffling money out every single month just to pay the mortgage.
Right.
So that's a good way to even start just your investment portfolio, right? Like as far as for the average person, if you just want to start investing in real estate, get a multi-family home as your first investment, live there. Now you kill two birds with one stone.
Live in one, right?
And rent out the other two units, right? So now, like I said, you kill two birds with one stone. Or if you're a business owner, now you can live upstairs and your business could be downstairs.
Right.
And then you can rent the other place, if there's another unit as well. So that's important. And investing in the stock market is important as well, right? You want to have some money that's going into stocks long term, not necessarily like day trading or taking risky bets, but we talk about index funds and ETF, stuff like that. And then, it's important to save for your retirement as well. So if you have a job, a lot of jobs, they offer 401k plans. If you're self-employed, you can have an IRA. So now you have, 3 different things working for you. You have your retirement, you have your regular stocks, you have your real estate play, right? Now you're developing a portfolio. If you have kids, you might want to do a college savings plan for them, or a UTMA, which is allowing you to put money into their investment account. So now you can start to do some other things. But those are like the three pillars, I think, as far as investing is concerned for the average person, like real estate, investing in stocks, just regular brokerage, and then retirement account.
So like a retirement account, like there's so many different ones, and this is something that I'm still like I mean, obviously, I had a 401k for a long time. I just rolled into an IRA because I don't work for anybody anymore. But there's like the Roth IRA, right? Like, can you guys kind of give me like a breakdown of the differences between those accounts? Do some pay dividends? Or
So it depends on how you invest it. So like a IRA is an individual retirement account, and you could put 6,000, I think 65. They might have raised it to like 6,500 for this year, but you put money in it and it lowers your taxable income. So if you put $5,000 into an IRA, you make $100,000. Now you only pay taxes on $95,000. So the money grows, and you can invest the money in a variety of different ways. So you can invest the money in the S&P, you can invest the money in Apple stock, you can invest the money in dividend paying companies and have the dividends go back into the investment account. So it's really up to you as far as how you choose to invest it or who you're working with invests it for you.
right.
But the main benefit is a tax benefit. That's the difference between just investing it just regular and investing it in an IRA is that you get a tax benefit. Then there was a Roth IRA, which is a retirement vehicle as well, but you don't get a tax benefit from it up front. So if you make $100,000, you put $5,000 into the Roth, you're still taxed on $100,000.
Right.
But when you take the money out in retirement, it's tax free. So like when you take money out of a retirement account or 401k or IRA, you get taxed. You pay state and federal tax. So if you have $1 million, right, and let's say you take out the whole amount at one time when you're 70 years old, now you pay federal tax, but that'll put you in the highest federal tax bracket because it's treated like ordinary income. And then depending on what state, like if you live in California, it's the highest state tax.
It's 13.1.
So you could be paying up to like 50% of the money in taxes. So if you take out $1 million, you might net $500,000.
Crazy.
So, but if you have a Roth and you take out $1 million, you don't pay any taxes, so you get $1 million.
So the difference between a Roth and a regular IRA is the tax benefits come, one is at the beginning, one is at the end.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you're like making decent money, you're kind of like fucking up if you're not doing a little bit of both. Would that be fair? Especially,
yeah, but then there's income limits too. So it gets a little tricky because then it's like, all right, if you make too much money, then if you're self-employed, you can put money into an IRA no matter how much money you make. But if you have a job and you make too much money, then there's income limits that you can't put money into an IRA. So now that's why the 401k is beneficial because you could put a lot more money into a 401k.
Right.
As opposed, you could put like 3 times more money into a 401k than you could put into an IRA.
Yeah.
And then if you're self-employed, you could have what's called a SEP IRA. And you could put up to like $60,000 a year into a SEP IRA.
What's the tax situation with that?
It's the same.
Do you get the tax benefits on the front or the back?
On the front.
On the front.
Yeah, it's like a regular IRA, but you just put way more money in.
So if you have a SEP IRA, and let's say I make $300,000 and I put 50 in, I'm taxed on 250.
It's a percentage of. It's 20% of your income. The lesser of 20% or like $60,000. And don't quote me on that, but I think that's around what it is. So it's like a calculator to see like which one is less.
Is less, yeah.
But it allows you to put a lot more money. And then it's like, you have defined benefit plans, you have pension plans. So these are all ways that, and this is why education is important, right? Because it's like the average person they don't care about this or anything about it, right? It's like, who cares? But if you're saving $300,000 a year or you saving $100,000 a year, you start to care. Right. Like, you start to care. It's like, damn, that's a lot of money. It's like this equals millions and millions of dollars. So now you see why the rich get richer, right? Because they're implementing these strategies at a very high level. So now they're figuring out how to save millions of dollars, how to pay no taxes, how to have real estate, and how to actually get money back from the government because of different incentives. And you're talking about opportunity zones and different things of that nature. Like there's so many things that's put in place for the educated and the wealthy to take advantage of, and then the middle class and then the poor are just uneducated and they're not financially in a position to do anything, so they never really even think about it.
Yeah, so it's almost like if you're self-employed, right, and you're doing, like, let's say you own a business or a laundromat or whatever you're doing, right? Like we always hear how like Donald Trump don't pay taxes or Google doesn't pay taxes, and there's so many things you can do instead of writing a check to the IRS.
That's the goal,
right? Like, I just did this like historically my whole life. Like, I drive like shit. I'm a terrible driver. I hate car payments. You could ask this guy. I've been kind of like paid off Toyota my whole life. And then I crash and then I get another paid off car. But like I had like a fucking crazy tax bill last year, and my CPA was like, and this was like end of November, and she was like, hey, go find a fucking $100,000 car. So I went and bought a car, and I don't feel as bad about it now, you know, because I was gonna either pay the IRS or drive a car, you know.
Yeah, a truck or a car?
It was a truck. It was 6,000 pounds.
There we go. Yeah. I mean, but this is the education round. We hear these things, and it's like you just said, you spoke about the Roth IRA, 401k, but even like he said, opportunity zones. We just hear these terms, and it's kind of like, we never know what that means, right? And then you have to do the education behind it, and it's like, all right, well, opportunity zones, how do we get that? Well, you have to have capital gains. Well, how many of us have capital gains that are over $1 million? Right, and then you realize, wait, we can't even participate. There's first the education, but then you realize, wait, there's a business structure that we're not even a part of yet to even be considered to be in this. So the education part is the most important. You said what are like the things we should invest in? Start investing in your education first. Yeah. Right, and then start building those things that we were just talking about. Excuse me.
And and thanks to you guys, like, I mean, I know you guys monetize like what you do. Like, I'm sure you guys have courses and shit, but like, you guys are giving away all the game for free. This is why I love Russ. Russ is a rapper who's...
You know Russ.
I love Russ because Russ is like... People don't like him, but he's really giving y'all the fucking crash course of free game. Like, selfless free game if you're up against... Same with LaRussell, you know what I mean? Like, these guys, like... And you guys have LaRussell on, but like, these guys are like just giving away game, and you guys are giving away game. You know what I mean? I think it's dope because I see some guys... Man, there was this one dude... Ty Lopez. That's oh my God.
Ty Lopez.
You bought models, right?
Just the cringiest dude on the internet, man. And like he would be doing these videos that pop up on my fucking shit where he'd be like in front of his Lamborghini. Do you want this? Sign up. And like it's just dope that I mean you and you guys aren't the same. You guys are I look at y'all as an educational platform. I look at guys like that or Gary Vee as like motivational, you know. Yeah. What do you guys think of I saw you guys speak on this a little. I didn't watch your guys' video on it, but the Grant Cardone situation. Obviously, Grant's successful. Mm-hmm. His book is cool. But then once I started to kind of see him on YouTube, I was like, oh, this guy's kind of a cocksucker, low-key. Like, respectfully, like, very successful guy, you know? I get it. His book is cool. If I read his book and didn't hear how he talked, you know what I mean? Or like, you know, I'm like, oh, this guy's like, you know, he's kind of a douchebag, but you know, successful. But there's a lot being made of some of the older clips of him talking about how he talks to the urban community. Mm-hmm. When you guys see a guy like that, as somebody who's in that community, who's helping educate that community from a genuine place, you know, how do you guys feel about that? And I'm sure you guys already talked about it because I saw the YouTube video.
Yeah. I feel like it's a marketing strategy.
Right.
So it's like my whole thing is like you don't have to be black to be part of hip hop culture. Like you could be Asian, you could be white, you could be Latino, like this, you know. But if you're not a part of hip hop culture, I don't understand the fascination with trying to go over and above to try to identify with something that you really didn't grow up in, you're not really passionate about. Like, I don't think he's listening to Rick Ross's mixtapes. Like, why are you hanging around Ross? Like, when we do it, like, it's from a genuine place.
Right.
Like, before we did this, like, we would debate rap for hours. Like, we would debate basketball for hours. Like, this is just who we are. Like, we can't appropriate our culture. We are the culture.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so, but I feel like him and a variety of other people, they use hip-hop culture as a way to gain notoriety. Mm-hmm. Credibility in the space, because everybody knows, like, you know, once hip hop stamps you, like, that means a lot, right? And it's like some things are worth more than money. So we don't have the economic power, but we have the cultural capital. Mm-hmm. And the cultural capital is extremely important and it's extremely valuable. So they see that from a business standpoint. They're like, all right, well, these rappers, they've been lit for years and they move. Look what we did to fashion. for instance, right?
For
so
sure.
it's like
I was gonna say, yeah.
from
Tommy Hilfiger to
from Tommy Hilfiger to Balenciaga to Gucci to Nike
any
to
of them.
Adidas.
anything,
company.
any fashion that's lit, it has to be stand by the
And
like,
that's the thing. So it's
period.
like, let's take a high end fashion because we spoke with Dapper Dan. So he was saying like Gucci, like hip hop culture probably makes up like 5% of the total pie that makes Gucci, right? That's a valid point, but it makes up probably 95% of the influence
of why they're buying
of
it.
why other people are buying it, right?
Sure.
Because it's become so popular. So it's just like Cristal, hip hop
Made it a thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So even if hip hop wasn't the number one source of revenue, it became the number one source of influence, which made other people want to buy it because it became so popular. So I think people in business have adopted that same strategy where it's like, all right, even if these aren't my number one consumers, I'm not going to make a tremendous amount of money with this community. I can gain a lot of notoriety from this community, which would help me make money with other communities.
That's a fact.
So I think that he's one of these people that have adopted that strategy, and it's a business ploy. So it's up to us to see how we feel about it, if we accept it or not. But I just feel like it's not from a genuine place when you do things like that. And like I said, it's not to say like you can't hang out with rappers. It's not to say you can't, go to an NBA game. But if your goal is to embrace culture, then you looking at it like music is the only part of the culture. That's kind of offensive,
Right?
Because it's like, all right, like you're saying the only thing that we bring to the table is entertainment. Mm-hmm. So if you really are truly passionate about embracing our culture, then embrace all aspects of the culture. Music is a part of it, but so is social justice.
Right.
So is economics, right? So is science. So is a variety of other things. And I never see these people hanging out with political activists. I never see them hanging out with, leaders in business. I never see them hanging out with the young tech entrepreneur that's in a HBCU trying to get his startup company done. I only see them hanging out with rappers. So it becomes questionable as far as their motivation.
Yeah, it goes to the part when he's saying like it's awareness, right? Like our job is like, all right, let's make the people aware of what's happening. If they're not, what they choose to do with it is going to be on them, right? There's still people that champion, but it was not surprising. We seen, like you said, we've seen this play plenty of times, but the problem was for so long we couldn't quantify it. How do we quantify the influence, right? We can say like this is the customer base because we can see the sales, but how do you quantify or justify the level of influence? Like we know it,
right?
But from the business standpoint, it's like, well, the numbers don't match that until you get a situation like Kanye and Adidas, right? And then you see cultural capital, cultural influence, remove both, and let's see what happens to the business. And that's what they're going through right now. It's like, well, we just lost $2 billion.
Yeah, let's bring them back to the table because we need to sell this.
Right.
Yeah.
Can we come back? Can we renegotiate how we're going to, again, be cool or appear cool to the community that we know got us to this level, and have you say it's okay to sell these things again? If not, what are we going to do with all this merchandise? How are we going to move it? What's going to happen to our brand? What's going to happen to the people that are existing on our brand if that guy says, like, we're not rocking with you, and his core audience says, we're not rocking with you anymore, which is our culture.
Yeah, I think Kanye is probably single-handedly, like, the most influential. Shit. I can't think anybody who's more influential in terms of culture and fashion. And, like, he's obviously said some things that are questionable recently.
True.
But man.
No, I mean, he's the guy, right?
He stamps your shit. It's up.
But he sets the standard now, right? Like, there's the cultural capital, there's the cultural influence together, and look what happens. Now we can quantify it. Now there's measurables to say, like, that happened because this was removed.
And, like, it's crazy because, like, when Yeezy first came out, everyone was like, man, these are hobo clothes and the earth tones and shit. Now everybody's wearing the shit. Let's talk about hip hop, guys.
Let's do it.
Give me each one of your guys' top 5 favorite albums.
Favorite albums?
Not MCs, because that's
in hip hop.
Rap or
rap.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, my favorite album of all time was "It Was Written."
Okay.
By Nas.
Affirmative Action's one of my favorite songs ever.
Yeah,
okay.
It Was Written. That changed my life. So "It Was Written." I would go with that. Another album that changed my life is "The Infamous" by Mobb Deep.
Yes. Big. I remember I met Big Noid in Tampa. And I was just like, bro, give up the good.
That's a classic verse.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wish I had 3 different faces.
Shout out to Noid, man. Rest in peace to Prodigy.
For sure.
I would speed it up to a little current times. Victory Lap is definitely a favorite of mine.
Yep.
I think a very classic album.
And has aged gracefully, gets better.
Every time.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It's up there. I probably would go Life After Death.
Okay.
Biggie. That's up there for me. And then another album that changed my life was Volume 2 from Jay-Z. That's probably my favorite Jay-Z album.
That's an interesting favorite Jay-Z album choice.
Yeah, because for me, it's moments in time, right? So it's like everybody's going to say Illmatic is their favorite Nas album, but Illmatic, I appreciated Illmatic. I was 10 years old, but when it was written, came out, I was 12 years old. You don't really see that much of it. It's a big difference between being 10 and 12.
For sure.
So when I was 12 and it was like I was coming into becoming a man and I could understand it and nah, it's real shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you coming into your manhood.
You're 12 years old, you know.
12,
You going
I'm right
to puberty,
Yeah.
like you becoming a young adult. So it's like everything that he was just saying, it was just hitting me different.
For sure.
And it was like, so the same thing with Volume 2. Like I was in middle school when that came out. And I never forget, like everybody was playing that album. And
I mean, that
every
was like the
song-
album that changed.
Jay-Z,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
he sold
changed
5
his
million
life. Changed
records.
his life.
He sold 5 million records, and it was like every song on that album is just dope, and the delivery and everything. So it's like that was a moment in time, and that was the transition for Jay-Z, because we had new Jay-Z's for a long time as far as his music was concerned.
No, that is the album that sparked the Hard Knock Life tour.
Yeah, that was everything.
Made him, yeah.
He was never the same after that album.
sure.
Yeah.
He became Hove.
Yep.
He became Hove
Jay
after
Hove.
that album. So that's my top 5 hip hop album.
What about you?
Top 5. I'll change it because we got some of the similar ones. Illmatic is my favorite album of any genre of all time.
Okay. I'm there with you. It's either that or Doggy Style for me, but yeah, I'm there with you.
Yeah. So like in the studio, we got the albums like looking at us. That Doggy Style is definitely on there. Only Built for Cuba Links.
Oof.
It is in there. Life After Death is definitely, I think, the greatest double CD ever made.
For sure. Better than Ready to Die, too.
A lot
That's way
better.
better than Ready
A
to
lot better than
is
Ready
better.
to Die.
It's way better.
It is better.
He said the Mobb Deep joint. So I'll go with one of my favorite guys of all time. I'll say the Carter 2 is one of my favorite albums of all time. Wayne is my guy. I'm a diehard Wayne guy. And then, man, there's a couple that are super important. If I have to, it's Jay, but it's 2. I'm gonna go 2 for Jay. I think Blueprint for Jay and 444 is one of my favorite albums just because of the growth, right? Like we saw some of our rappers not make it to adulthood,
Right.
to fatherhood, to fully mature. So to watch them from Reasonable Doubt to get to Volume 1, Volume 2, obviously Blueprint,
Right.
and then to grow and have transgressions and have life experience and to express that, plus the
Right.
financial literacy piece inside
For
of both.
sure. Tons of gems. It's like kind of the first like successful like grown up,
It's
grown man rap
It's a grown
album.
man rap album.
Yeah.
Like Nas had Life is Good, and it was like, oh, that's growth, that's fatherhood. We're
Right.
experiencing these things at the same time. And like now he's talking about financial literacy in 444, and he's talking about marriage, and he's talking about like real grown man shit and
Yeah.
legacy. And we're going through those things in real life, and I'm like, yo, this is probably one of my favorite pieces of work that he's ever done. So those are my 5. And if we had to count Lauryn Hill's Miseducation
Of course.
and his hip hop, we throw that in there.
Shout out to Lauren.
Yeah, I mean,
You guys, I would Volume 2, 444. Those. I mean, you know, I always say about Jay-Z is like, there's a couple of Jay-Z albums that I just did not like. Magna Carta, Holy Grail was one that just kind of.
he tried to advance us in the art world on that one. We wasn't ready.
Got a fucking Sam song for it.
Nickels and Dimes are still, we forgive him for that one.
And the album that people dislike that I love is Blueprint 2. Because
The double T or the actual 2.1
is the better one because
Yeah.
they kind of took all the
best songs.
but that Meet the Parents is so
Great song.
so good, man.
Great song.
Even like the Blueprint 2 record, that Blueprint or that Just Blaze produced with like the flutes and shit.
Oh yeah.
That shit is crazy. That was like the last time he took shots at Nas.
Yeah.
That shit was hard.
It's because the way a kufi don't mean that he right.
Yes. Oh,
Because you don't understand it don't mean that he nice.
it's been dope to see you guys interviewing artists now, and I think you guys are interviewing artists from like a way like I love the perspective when you guys talk to someone like LaRussell or Rick Ross. Like for you guys, like kind of going from being like I mean, you guys are still independent, but you guys obviously have blown up, and you guys are doing dope shit now with Revolt and doing all. You guys are doing a lot of cool shit. Like, how cool is it to be able to interview a guy like Rick Ross and have conversations with these guys that you guys grew up listening to?
No, it's dope. I mean, it's a surreal moment. Like, you know, as far as big fans before anything,
For
like,
sure.
you know, listening to music, growing up and arguing, having debates, having fights about music. Like, you know, I used to have almost physical fist fights about Nas and Jay-Z and during that time. And
listen, I fucking was Team Nas so hard that I just refused to listen to Jay-Z for about a year.
so it's like, so now that I have Dame Dash on speed dial, it's crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even a surreal moment. And it's just like Rick Ross, like being in his house, chopping it up with him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like having conversations with T.I. T.I. was one of my favorite rappers of all time. Talking to T.I. like
Trap music, urban legend, or king? Where are you at?
all of them.
Okay.
All of them.
You got to pick one.
Trap music, to me, because that set the vibe. He changed the...
And he's got that Doing My Job on there.
Yeah,
Was that a Ye
yeah.
beat? I think that was a Kanye beat.
Was it?
Doing My Job was
but
a Kanye beat.
I feel like from a musical standpoint, he got into his bag with Urban Legend and the King album.
King changed changed his
But
life.
Urban Legend is probably my favorite album. But trap music, he created trap music. He said it. He's the first person to say trap music. Yeah. So like that alone is Hall of Fame status.
I wish he would just leave this boozy thing alone. I saw a video last night of him at his restaurant on the mic holding up paperwork, and I was like,
You know what? Somebody said something. They were talking to us the other day. I think it was Big Boy. It was like, you live long enough for people to hate you. They start to see flaws in you. They start to say, "Oh, yeah, your music is whack," and it's unfortunate, right? Because it's like the longer you live, the more opportunities you have
to fuck up,
to be discredited.
Yeah,
because you're under if you're as famous as T.I., you're famous.
Tip's our guy, man. He's a close friend of the show. I think one of the funniest things he said is like, I don't like somebody that get fly and then get shy. Like, yo, don't talk crazy and then not show up when they're invited to prove or to try to discredit me and not, come to see what is actually true.
I just think like certain shit should be like.
But Tip's our guy.
T.I. I think is like, he's T.I.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Bro, don't even acknowledge this shit. Like, just keep it moving. You're Tip, bro. Like, you're one of the goats, dog.
It's crazy, man. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, we hip hop babies. Like, right. I'm literally like a hip hop baby, born in the South Bronx. Grew up listening to Rakim and KRS up until this point now, where it's like, obviously, you heard the list of people that we named in our albums, like getting to meet Nas and him telling us that he listens to what we're doing. Like think about the nostalgia that it's just like one of these moments in life. You're like, yo, this is real. Like this guy we listened to growing up and helped shape and mold some of the things and how we saw life is now listening to us for what we do in education in the financial space. It's like pretty crazy. Like even like the way we look at Jay and being able to be at the Rock Nation brunch. It's like
crazy,
this
right?
Is like,
it's because
this is real life.
That's the kind of shit you see on Instagram every year.
It's like, you see it and now you're there and like, we looked up, like we watched these guys. Like we watched Puff and now to know Puff and sit with him and him tell us how important the work we're doing is like, it's not something you can write in a script. It's just like kind of surreal because we're living these moments, but we have a reverence for these people. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, Tip is this guy and we argue all the time. He's like, yo, I used to say, yo, Wayne's the best rapper alive. And he's like, nah, Tip's the best dude from the South. I'm like, nah. And now to know Tip and like, he's like, yo, this guy thought Wayne was better than you. And I'm like, at the time I did.
Hey, we got to interrupt the interview, man. Hey, shout out to MyBookie, man. Make sure you go to mybookie.ag. NFL season, it's over. But at MyBookie, the opportunities to win, they're not over, baby. They don't stop ever, all right? Whether you want to make some extra or just make the games more exciting, MyBookie is going to give you the most for your money with their deposit bonuses. Now, listen, if you sign up right now, go to mybookie.ag, use that promo code BOOTLEG, you're going to get a welcome bonus up to $1,000. And on top of that, March Madness is on the way, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. That college basketball tournament is coming. They're going to give you a free $150,000 March Madness bracket contest entry. Imagine if you win $150,000, you didn't have to put no money up. Crazy. You got to go to mybookie.ag, sign up with that promo code BOOTLEG right now, $1,000 deposit bonus. If you put 1,000 in, they're gonna give you another 1,000. All right, and of course, so much to bet on. With my bookie, you could do NCAA, NBA, NHL, UFC, boxing. Is Jake Paul gonna win? I don't know, but you could put some money on Jake Paul. I would. All right. Of course, they also got their weekly online blackjack tournaments. So much roulette. I mean, slots. So much. With so many brands to choose from, trust my bookie. I've been rocking with them for over 10 years, goddammit. And they're so easy to get your money out of, so easy to make money with. They got the best, simplest platform to use, the best props. Man, trust me. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with my bookie. MyBookie.ag, promo code Bootleg. Sign up. Also, shout out to our family at Hardin Las Vegas. Yes, you see them. I was just there in Vegas yesterday. This is the best place I've ever been to in terms of dispensaries. I've been to probably hundreds of these things. And the experience at Hardin is like nowhere else. The customer service, the selection of premium cannabis, the experience as a customer that you get when you walk into the building in Las Vegas is bar none the best. It's just the best, man. They are the best. We got so much going on this weekend. They're sponsoring the Rolling Stone Party on Friday, Super Bowl weekend. Fabulous Thursday, Offset Friday, Meek Saturday. It's a lot going on with Hardin. You got to follow him at Hardin_Las Vegas. Right now, shoot him a follow on Instagram. While you're at it, go to their website, HardinLasVegas.com. So much fly gear, so much fly weed. What are we talking about, baby? Shout out to Hardin, man. That's the family, man. Go, if you're in Vegas, pull up on them, man. Hardin, Las Vegas. You know what's so funny is I do that shit to my friends all the time. If I get around a famous person, I'm with one of my childhood friends. I'm like for example, Common, right? My best friend.
Common has a great album. So listen, B is a classic.
B and Resurrection.
Yes.
But my best friend, he always says I know his top 5 albums, right? So we're on Common's tour bus. And I'm like, hey, you have his 3rd favorite album of all time. And he's like, 3rd? What are the other 2? I'm like, dude, he loves Resurrection, but he thinks Aquemini is much better.
Aquemini, that's another classic.
I got it right there.
I got it. It's on my wall too.
Yeah.
I got that.
Oh, man. Love Aquemini. Hey, who's the GOAT from the Bronx? I'm going to, listen, if I'm forgetting, it's got to be KRS, Fat Joe, or Pun, right?
It's I'll say this. It's Fat Joe because of the long. Big Pun. KRS is the pioneer, and he's always going to be the godfather.
Right.
Big Pun was the lyrical assassin.
I mean, Big Pun is the best rapper.
He's the best rapper.
He just didn't have a long enough career.
Yeah.
Correct. Fat Joe is one of the most underrated people in hip hop history because
I say it all the time.
He came out in '92.
Yeah.
And he's still relevant. He's more relevant now than he ever was.
For sure.
Not even just from rapping, just from a personality standpoint.
We just love, he's like kind of like the East Coast Snoop kind of.
Yeah.
We just love
when
Fat
you
Joe.
see him, you know.
He's like 30 years in the game, and he's just as relevant now as he ever was. And he has a lot of hit records.
And he's a beast of a rap. Like, he's an MC's MC.
Yeah, he can rap.
I think about his fucking verse on Big L's album. Man, Fat Joe's one of those guys.
Yeah.
Fat Joe's the one.
KRS, it's got to be Fat Joe. For a while, even through middle school, if people asked me who the best rapper was, I would tell you KRS. Mm-hmm. But like you said, it's the longevity.
Yeah.
And those guys, it's unfortunate because they're not. The thing is, like the pioneers, they're not that much older than some of the guys we hold in deep reverence.
Well, like you said, Fat Joe came out in '92. Fat Joe the Gangster, Fat Joe's an OG, bro.
LL Cool J and Jay-Z are not far in age, right? There might be a 3-year age difference, but we look at them very differently when we talk about their hip hop careers.
But Cardi B's up there. Because she's probably the most.
I didn't even think of Cardi.
Yeah.
She's the most commercially successful artist to ever come out of
French.
the Bronx.
French too. I think French. You got to put French. As far as we're talking about commercial success and singles and music that's dominated. You got a diamond record. Now Cardi has 2 diamond records.
Cardi's way more musically.
No, I'm saying we got to put them in the conversation for the Bronx.
That's fair.
Yeah. If we're talking lyrics, then you got to add.
If you're putting a 5 together.
Yeah, Remy got to be in there. If we're talking just lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you got to mention French as far as commercial success.
The best album though is Capital Punishment, or
from the Bronx,
Invasion of Privacy.
Yo, that's a great album.
That Cardi B album was great.
I can't even front. That shit was good.
And I'm a guy who
it was great.
Historically, I don't relate to a lot of women's music, but that Cardi album was crazy.
Cardi,
she delivered. She definitely delivered.
She's a historical figure when it comes to hip hop.
Already, she's done so much and it's she only has 1 album out.
That's it.
I mean, she has some mixtape shit, but like if we're thinking like since like the world has known Cardi,
Invasion of Privacy, and a bunch of hits.
She's held the wave for like 8 years now. Like she's held the throne.
and she's like,
Nicki held it for a long time.
Yep.
Shout out to Nicki.
Another
New Yorker.
You give it an 8?
I'm just saying, I don't know. It could be longer than that. I don't know. But
20,
when did Bodak yellow?
That was like 2018, 2017, late 2017.
She won a Grammy in 2019.
So what? 6 years? Okay, 6
Yeah.
years. So she's been the number one female artist for 6 years. Nicki Minaj had it for a long time, and then Cardi took it.
Yeah, I think the difference between like, I think Cardi is like probably the most, in my opinion, like likable
Personality.
Yeah.
Like people just
Relatable.
like her.
She's very
She's
relatable.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Like
She got a McDonald's meal right now.
yeah, like I booked Offset at my club for Super Bowl weekend, and I went to their Airbnb to drop off his money, and like he was playing me his album and shit. She just came out of the bedroom. She's just like the nicest girl. You know what I mean? Super personable. You know what I mean?
She has that. Her personality is infectious. Like we saw that personality on Love and Hip Hop until obviously with Bodak Yellow.
And that shit matters too, because like if you think about Fat Joe, if tomorrow it came out that Fat Joe was hosting Good Morning America, we'd be like, that's crazy, but we'd also be like, I see it. Yeah.
He's great. He can do it all.
He has a person, and we know him personally. So we actually just had a 2-hour debate with him in Utah for All Star. We ran into him and Fab. It was random at this restaurant, and we had a 2-hour debate with Joe about music. And yeah, he's a very opinionated.
What
person.
was his wild? Because I've gotten into arguments with Fat Joe about rap too. What was the opinion he was standing on?
I don't want to say too much because I'm pretty sure.
You know what Joe is? He has a great memory, but some things
the 50 list
with that,
he wasn't happy about that.
Was he on the top 50?
He was not in the list.
Okay, yeah, that's crazy. That's egregious.
He wasn't arguing about himself, which he said he should have been on there. But some of the people on the list, I will let them remain nameless. But he was confused about some of the people on the list.
Yeah.
I was confused by some of the people.
I was confused about half of the list.
Confused by a lot of the people on the list, and he never was saying like I should be on it. He was just confused why some people were on it.
He did say that he should have been on it though.
But he definitely should be on it. Obviously, what we just said, and we had a spirited debate about the longevity of people's careers and what makes them legendary. And so, like, again, like, he's one of those guys. And you just said 30 years. Like, some of these people that have made the list maybe had 2 songs. Right. And we can't remember a memorable verse or song. And so it's interesting, man. The people that make these lists, we don't know who they are. And
also,
so
who the fuck's putting the list together?
My question
who works
was
at Rolling Stone?
Exactly. And it was Billboard and Vibe put together. And
that's
I'm like,
what it was. It was
yeah, we don't
Billboard,
know who did it. But my thing was like, yo, why don't we create something where we have people who we agree are valid enough and qualified enough to make an opinion on this. And let's like get 10 people in a room and make a list that makes sense.
When I saw when I saw Rick Ross was number 50, that's when I knew the list was invalid.
It's funny because I did a list. Remember a few years ago, somebody put out their list of favorite, like top rappers, and it went viral. I forget who did it. So I did my own list, and I had Rick Ross at 10, which people were like, "You're fucking crazy." And
he's at least top 20.
I'm like, guys,
he's at least top 20.
He's got a classic.
A couple.
He got a few.
He's got a classic.
Which one are you saying is classic?
I think Teflon Don is the one everyone should agree on, but I think Deeper Than Rap.
Deeper Than Rap's my favorite.
Like Deeper Than
They're
Rap
both
is
classics.
the one to me,
Deeper
and it's a
Than Rap.
classic to me.
It's a classic.
Well, I always tell everybody like
That
there's
Deeper
like
Than Rap is
classics to us, and then there's like consensus classics.
That Deeper
right?
Than Rap changed the game though.
I agree.
That's when he went against 50, and that's when he became a mainstream superstar artist.
But I think there's like 2 classifications of classics. I think there's like the consensus classics that like nobody will disagree with.
The cult classics.
Doggy Style, Get Rich or Die Trying, Good Kid, Mad City. Like there's no, like if anybody who knows hip hop can't say shit if you say My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is a classic, right?
They don't, yeah.
But then I think there are other kind of, like that's why I always say Drake has classic albums to me.
Which one?
I like Take Care and I like Nothing Was the Same.
Oh my God. Yo.
Yeah.
I think Drake's best album. I don't even know if it is an album.
The mixtape, if you're reading this, is too late.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Nothing was the same as the best body of work.
Nothing was the same as mine.
If you're reading this and it's too late, every song on there, like
I
don't
get
go back and listen to it.
It's just tainted to me because I heard the Quentin Miller references.
Well,
it's tainted.
I'm rocking with that. I'm just letting the back end of that album.
Running through the 6.
It's kinda
like whoa, like that was the one.
Nothing was
that
the same
was
as
the
one to me. But I always say that Drake is an artist who has yet to have a consensus classic.
He doesn't have a classic like in that. He doesn't have Illmatic.
He doesn't have an Illmatic. He doesn't have an Equimini. He doesn't have one of those.
No,
now,
he doesn't.
there's an argument to be made that Take Care could be one of those. But
there's still
there's an argument.
There's an argument.
That's where I'm at with like, and motherfuckers will swear that bro, I was with Freddie Gibbs with this guy. I argued with Drake for about an hour and a half about this in person. The first time I met him, because I'm pretty harsh on Drake, but not like as a dick, because I'm a fan.
Yeah.
This motherfucker was like, oh, I know exactly who you are. And I was like, hey, man.
Hey, man.
Because I'm with my guys here. I got to keep the same energy.
Yeah.
I was like, I just went viral recently because I said you didn't have a classic album. So I just, and he's like, well, someone like you would never understand. So we were arguing it was at least an hour. We're sitting at the bar at Harriet's in West, and I'm just explaining to him why I don't I'm like, no, you have a classic. I think Nothing Was the Same is a classic.
So why you say somebody like you wouldn't understand?
Because I'm not from Toronto.
Oh.
So he's like pretty much looking at me like I'm some fucking old head fucking backpack
you wouldn't get
bap
it.
dude, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I love your shit.
Yeah.
But you gotta be a little more vulnerable. Like, I don't know Drake's like stance on social issues.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
I wonder what he thinks his classics are.
Yeah, Drake doesn't.
From that conversation you had, did you get a sense of like what he thought was his classic?
It went from that, and then we ended up. I mean, he owes me $50,000 because we bet we had an art. Then we went into
by
it.
the way.
We went into this huge basketball argument. It was great. It was great. It was like we walked away that night, and it was one of those nights where I was like, "Yo, tonight really happened." Like I argued with Drake for almost 2 hours at a bar with Freddie Gibbs about rap and NBA. And he bet me that year that my Phoenix Suns would not go further than the Warriors. And that was the year we went to the finals and lost to the Bucks. $50,000.
Oh, that's not that long ago.
Did you ever ask him for it?
I haven't seen him.
Maybe he'll hear
Like
this.
hit him on the DM?
I definitely hit him on the DM.
Did he read it?
Of course not.
If you're reading this, we left.
Of course
But I also
not.
think that albums aren't looked at the same. Like when we was growing up, albums meant a lot, right? Your album cover, the
everything,
the inside of it, the writing. Like people used to tell stories. I think Good Kid, Mad City. I would say Victory Lap too. That's like the last album where it really like because if you listen to Victory Lap, and Game actually did this on the album too, but the songs bleed into each other.
Mm-hmm.
So the beats actually end up so like when you hear like real big, and then it's like the other song. What was the song after that? With CeeLo.
Loaded Bases?
Loaded Bases. They bleed into each other.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like
40s mastered that.
You know who did a really good job of that recently? Just side note, Metro Boomin's album is fucking.
Metro, I heard shit is crazy.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I think the 40s mastered that.
Yeah.
That just the transition from songs and even inside the same song until
But-
it goes into
but-
it.
but what I'm saying is
I think the last classic of this time, like for this era, I think My Turn. I think Lil Babies is the last classic album.
I think time will tell.
Yeah.
But
for this era.
But I feel like Little Baby's Essentials is the best Essentials on Apple Music. But that's a different conversation. Well,
Just randomly, let me just throw this out there.
What?
but what I'm saying is that now it's become more about singles.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not really about a body of work. It's about, even if you have 15 songs, it's like, let's make 15 records.
Right.
They don't really have, they're not cohesive. Like Good Kid, Mad City is telling a story, right? It's not about making a cohesive body of work. It's just about making songs that sound good.
Well,
Some people are still doing it,
we
though.
can't knock Kendrick then, because that's what he just did.
I just said Kendrick. He's the last one.
Yeah, but I'm not. Like you said, Good Kid, Mad City, but
Classic, I don't think that album that he put out I don't think it's be known as
I
a
think
classic.
Pimp a Butterfly. I mean, I think
that's a classic to me.
Me too.
That's a classic to me.
cult
But it's a
classic.
very
It's a cult classic.
polarizing album.
I love that album.
Me too.
Yeah.
And it aged so good.
I love it.
I think Drake's gonna have to just sit down and just say, okay,
Is Damn a classic?
This is a legacy play.
I think so. But I think so.
Drake has the ability to do a legacy play where he just sits down and says, you know what, I'm just going to just make an album.
He just said
You know what I'm saying?
he said he might be giving it up.
I mean, he just did a fucking EDM album. Or
No,
a house
no.
album. So
But I'm
he
saying-
can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I'm saying, but he could make a concept album.
He could put his head down, get with the Alchemist, Just Blaze, fucking.
But does he want to though? That's the thing.
That's why he just did that. I don't know if y'all saw the whole Little Yachty interview, but he was kind of saying like this is the tail end of the. He might just be the passion for it is
Well,
not the same.
He's already cemented himself as the greatest of all time, right? So it's like if you
Question mark. I saw the question mark face.
The greatest successful rapper of all time.
Well, when you say the
He's
greatest,
the biggest hit maker.
so
of all
here's
time.
the thing about the greatest of all time, right? It's like a three-headed monster. Like
It is.
It's a goat. When you
I
say,
heard some reference tracks that kind of
all right,
kind of just made me look at that conversation a little.
When? Since when? When's the last time you heard a reference track?
the Quentin Miller thing.
Quentin Miller.
So we're talking 2014.
So I
it's
understand. I've been in studios with rappers. I get it. Motherfuckers get help with lines, but that was the whole song.
No, that's a fact. But listen,
Go ahead. Greatest of all time.
we didn't know that Jay-Z took 99 problems from Ice-T. I didn't know that. I didn't know that verse was from Bun B. I didn't know that.
Okay.
I never heard the song before. I knew the Biggie references because we heard the music. But a lot of people, if you from Memphis, Tennessee, you might not even knew that. Bring them out. It's hard to yell when the barrel's in your mouth. You might not have known that. That's actually Biggie Smalls that said that. Mm-hmm. I knew it, but like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, is that a reference track?
No, it's not a reference track.
Same thing. Homage.
I say a big verse. I'm only picking
It's
up my
homage,
brother.
but how you don't know it? Like I just found out 2 days ago that 99 Problems was from Ice-T. I just found out a week ago that verse was from
Not the verse. The
Strong
bar,
Arm a hoe. Not a hoe in the
It's a
little sense
bar.
of having a pussy, but a pussy having no goddamn sense.
A
Trying to
bar.
put that's a reference.
It's a bar.
Did you know that? I didn't know it.
It's a bar. It's not
Listen,
the
I'm
verse.
not,
Six
listen,
bars.
I'm
It's
not
six
mad at you
bars.
for saying Drake is the GOAT. I get it.
He's
Numbers
a
are
goat.
on the board.
He's a goat.
He's a GOAT.
He's a goat.
A
Yes.
goat.
He's a
So
goat.
there's goats.
a goat.
There's goats.
But there's only a few goats.
Yeah.
There's only
How many are there?
Drake, Kanye, Jay-Z, Nas, Tupac, Biggie Smalls.
Kendrick Lamar.
I think it's too early. Lil Wayne.
I can't say it's too early
Did
for
you just say Biggie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Biggie had 2 albums.
Once again, you live long
Wait.
enough.
Wait.
I'm not going with it. It's too early.
Biggie is a GOAT off of 2 albums.
2 albums. You could really say 3 because of the double album.
Okay.
But okay.
Kendrick has to be a GOAT off of his body of work already because there's an argument.
Kendrick's goated. Kendrick's goated. He has to be goated. The argument of it's too early in his career. He dropped.
If he passed away,
it's
God,
over 10
God
years,
forbid he passed away.
Yeah, he has classics.
People
And he
would
has
be-
10 years.
Yes.
It's not like he's not selling out shows every time he does.
And-
It's not like he's putting out
bodies of work.
quality music. Like, yeah, he's goated.
But I also look at it like Kendrick to me is like Eminem.
Oh no. Well, by the way, Eminem's a GOAT. You got to give it to him.
Why you say it like that? Eminem
But,
is dope.
but Eminem has never sniffed an album as good as Kendrick's best 2 albums, 3 albums.
I'm
Like,
just
never.
saying as far as like cultural influence, right? And I listen to Good Kid, Mad City. I listen to Pimp a Butterfly, but like I hang around like some younger kids and the cultural. And we spoke about this with different people. Kendrick, the cultural influence is not there.
Maybe not in New York. I think in LA it is.
No.
I'm telling you.
I don't know. I argue
We
this.
spoke to people from LA.
So I don't
about this.
disagree with you in
And
terms
that's no disrespect.
No, I don't disagree with you in terms of like Kendrick might not have the cultural influence that Future has or Drake has.
Future is another one. He's
He
up
is a
there.
GOAT.
He's a GOAT.
I agree. I think
he's a
Future's a
GOAT.
GOAT.
Future's a GOAT.
That's a lot of goats,
He's
bro.
goated.
Listen, my top 10 is
They
very...
can't just be legends?
He's goated.
He's a legend.
Future's goated.
He's a legend.
Future's goated, bro.
Future's like top 5 most influential rapper of all
Ever.
time.
I'm not arguing
Ever.
that. I'm just saying, is he a goat?
He's
though?
goated. But I'm just saying, like when I say,
That's what I'm saying. Like, where do you?
But
He's
here's
the- I think he's the greatest club artist of all time. I think he
He's
has
got a lot of them joints.
I think he has a classic. I think Dirty Sprite 2 is a classic album.
Okay.
He's got classic mix. I think that
his longevity is he's still going.
Yeah.
but I do think that
Like Eminem, I never in life ever listened to Eminem's music.
you never listened to Eminem show?
No.
I did. I think that's his
I
best
never,
album.
I never listened to an
We
Eminem.
got a lot in common.
I never.
Eminem show's great, man.
It's a great album.
And then that mixtape era where he was on all the Green Lantern mixtapes and shit.
I think it was Conway or somebody said like we don't look like. There's no disrespect.
Oh, I've been in the car with Conway in Denver, Colorado. He was in the car and he was playing the most random Eminem album cuts, and I filmed it because I was like,
He went back to the Marshall Mathers EP.
I was like, check out my guy actually listening to Eminem. Like,
Listen, I'm just saying as far as, and I think Jim Jones said this, right? Growing up, like the people that I was around,
right.
never in life ever played Eminem's music.
So I think that like influence culturally is because Eminem definitely, undeniably had cultural influence. Maybe not in
he didn't have no influence.
No.
He didn't have no cultural influence.
I'm not saying I'm not saying. I mean, he influenced pop culture and America.
Pop culture,
Right.
American culture.
He influenced American culture. Now, he did not nobody was like
dressing like him.
Yo, check out this guy in these shitty Jordan sweatsuits. Let me put those on. Nobody was doing that.
But he opened the door for a new audience.
He also gave us 50 Cent.
He didn't give us 50
didn't give
Cent.
us 50 Cent.
We had 50 Cent. New York, we had 50 Cent.
Y'all had the mixtapes, and
he played a part.
50 would have had his second wave after the Colombian deal, but
he played a part, a major part.
I
got the XXL behind y'all.
Listen, when Wankster,
when
Wankster came out, 50 Cent was in a bidding war, bro. Like Wankster was already done. They mastered the record, but the Wankster was done by who produced that record? It wasn't. It
wasn't Dre.
No, it was whatchamacallit? His first person that he was working with from New York.
Was it Sha Money?
Sha Money.
Yeah.
Wankster.
Yeah.
By the time Wankster came out, 50 Cent was already 50 Cent.
No.
Yeah.
And he was gonna be whoever. Now,
I don't know. Listen,
they put
the difference is in the club.
No,
that changed.
No.
That
In the
changed.
club is what changed.
mainstream.
Yes.
Mainstream.
So I'm saying 50 would have been like 50 and G-Unit could have been like Dipset and Cameron. We don't know. And I'm not saying Dipset. I'm not trying to discount Dipset and Cameron.
Shout out to the guys.
Love those guys. I'm a huge fucking Dipset guy.
Yeah.
But I think we can all agree, like commercially, like Cam was never like a superstar.
No, they didn't. But they had more cultural influence than G-Unit.
They did.
They had way more cultural influence.
I don't disagree. But I'm saying 50. We don't know what his ceiling would have been without a Dr. J Eminem cosign.
No, that's a fact.
That's fair.
That's a fact.
That's fair.
And Get Rich or Die Trying.
Is a
That's got Eminem and Dre's fingerprints all over it.
But a lot of those records are already there.
But a lot of those
The biggest records were already there. 21 Questions was already there. Many Men was already there. Wankster was already there. In the Club, yes.
Patiently Waiting.
In the Club, yeah.
Wasn't Heat produced by Dre?
Patiently Waiting. I don't think that's one of his better records.
Heat,
on that
but
record.
Heat's crazy. With the
Is that that?
No, Heat's the one with the gunshot
Okay.
and the beat.
I mean, look, they played a major part in making him a mainstream artist for sure.
I just think that like Eminem might not like as an artist, he doesn't have the cultural influence as a Dipset.
But this exactly. So this is an interesting debate, and like I said, no disrespect, because those guys, every single person that we just named is a legend. Eminem's a legend. But what I'm saying is that mainstream success and cultural influence are two different things.
Correct.
Eminem had tremendous mainstream success. He didn't have any cultural influence. There's no disrespect. I've never seen anybody say that they wanted, like Dipset didn't have mainstream success. They had tremendous, tremendous cultural influence. Their cultural influence way surpassed the amount of records that they sold.
I agree.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So there's certain people that have strong cultural influence and are not successful as far as selling a bunch of records. And there's some people that sell a bunch of records and don't have cultural influence.
I just think Eminem's cultural influence is different.
So
then where's Drake?
Drake?
Because what's the cultural influence? But tell me the cultural influence Drake has.
Yeah. Listen, because
in the urban community.
I'm going to tell you.
Tell me.
Because every club in America that you go to, they playing Drake. Every radio station, they playing Drake. Drake has it.
But that sounds like more mainstream than
No,
that's mainstream.
Yeah, because if you're on the
so me and my boy Glasses Malone, because G Malone says this about Drake. Drake, what's Drake's culture that he's bringing to the table?
Listen. He's bringing Toronto, Canada. Let me explain something to you. I went to Toronto, Canada, 15 years ago.
Right.
Before Drake, nobody even knew who Drake was. It used to be $10 to get into a club.
Right.
They had no sense of like how we was doing things as far as bottle service and none of that. It was none of that. You go up there and just because you was an American, you get treated like, oh, you're royalty. I came back after Drake, everything was changed. It was $100 to get in.
Can you tell me the cultural influence here that he has? Because I've never seen somebody try to dress like Drake.
No, he has no influence when it comes to fashion.
Well, what does he have an influence on?
Music. He changed
That's
music.
mainstream.
No. I'm saying as far as Drake's influence is his...
Like to me, ASAP Rocky has like cultural influence, right? That like we can like
on
look
a certain level.
Like that's what I'm saying. That's
Drake don't have that.
No, it's the funny because I said that, and the same thing with ASAP is the same thing with like a guy like Tyler the Creator, who's had influence culturally,
and now also the commercials coming around.
Exactly, and now he's had the mainstream success where it's like
culturally he's had
before with his whole crew.
Here's what I'm saying, right? You could go to the highlight room and you're gonna hear Drake. You could go to Dykeman basketball tournament in New York. You're gonna hear Drake. You're not gonna hear Eminem in Dykeman. You're not.
But you're gonna hear T-Pain in everywhere, right?
T-Pain's he has influence. He had influence
on music. Mainstream. How about this? How about this? You could go to like 30 different types of places in America right now. I'm not saying Dykeman. I'm not saying the Bronx. I'm saying, depending on where you go in, let's say 2012, you might hear Flow Rider in like 12 spots, right?
That's gonna happen.
But
shout out to him on 80 million.
Influence is not just all right. We got to break down what does influence really mean. Part of influence is fashion. Like, so you got...
Do people rap like Drake?
Yes.
Or does he...
It's Drake sounding like Drake. He influenced a lot of rappers.
But do you
Every
think
song
Drake
I hear feels
at
like
the same
Drake.
time is kind of... He's really good at sampling culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, one album will be like, I like the British shit. Let me tap in and put gigs on my shit. And then the other album will be I'm going to do a house album.
We got to give him credit for that because
I love the fact that he's turning up those.
But he has an ear for it,
and he's bringing new eyes to that.
It's the same thing. Like he has the ear for it. It's like, yo, I like that sound. Let me incorporate that sound. Number one, because I like it. But number two, let me highlight the people that are doing it, and it brings more attention to that sound. It's like, and I had this conversation before. It was like, yo, did we know who WizKid was before you did a song with him?
I don't disagree. I think Drake. I listen.
And now, like, you look at WizKid, and it's like, yo, this guy is.
I just think that.
One of the biggest artists.
Let's get back to this influence conversation.
Right.
There's different types of influence. So you got influence of fashion.
Okay.
So Kanye West is probably the biggest influence when it comes to fashion. He's influenced culture when it comes to
music.
fashion. No, I'm just saying, just fashion.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Dipset influenced fashion.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So there's different people that have played major parts of influence. Jay-Z at one point influenced fashion. Nas influenced fashion early.
Yeah.
A$AP Rocky influenced fashion to a certain.
What was Nas's influence on fashion that Raekwon wasn't already kind of?
They were all doing the same thing.
You got to put them in the same boat.
When Nas came out with the Avarex song.
You guys were there.
Yeah.
The Avarex. So first.
Are we giving Nas the Avarex leather jacket credit?
It's not.
When I think of it, that's what I think of. I think the Street Dreams remix video.
Nas was the flyest rapper.
Yes.
So when he came with the fade and the part, that's hip hop culture. That's
fair enough.
The army jacket, sneaker Uzi on the Allen, and my army jacket line. Army jackets were a New York staple for a very long period of time. He helped pioneer that.
Right.
Then he got flyer. It was written when he started wearing the leather coats and the Avarexes and all of that. Like those were fashion billboards. When we was watching the videos, like, yo, I gotta get that Avarex.
But they all got flyed around the same time, right? So then you see Pac with Versace, and then you see Big with Versace, and then you see Nas, and that's that same right. They all start. But
Raekwon and Nas were more similar as far as their dressing style.
Yeah.
Big was more. He was more flamboyant,
and he was more like designer.
You had
to have a bag to dress like Big. You could fuck around
Versace shirts and all of that.
Much Versace swagger. Big admired the Brooklyn Night took Jay.
Biggie played a part as well. But
so Drake's influence is music.
But let's so then you got gang culture.
Okay,
that's influential. Dipset, they influenced gang culture tremendously. In New York, there was no gangs in New York. Now, gang culture is embedded in New York culture, and they played a major part. Not to say that that's something that's positive, but it's influence.
Yeah.
From Snoop Dogg, Nipsey Hussle, all of these guys influenced gang culture.
Right.
And they on the masses. From even Chief Keef in Chicago, right?
For
like
sure.
all of that. That's gang culture. Then you got influence as far as actual music, right? So this is why I say Drake doesn't have any street influence. He doesn't have any fashion influence, but his musical influence is undeniable. I even look at Lil Baby. I don't think anybody wants to dress like Lil Baby. He doesn't have any influence when it comes to fashion. His influence when it comes to music is like you're playing, like anywhere I go in America, it could be Wisconsin, it could be Brooklyn, it could be South Central. I'ma hear his music being played. I'm not hearing Kendrick Lamar's music.
True.
I'm not hearing Kendrick Lamar's music.
Can we say Eminem is influential then, if that's the criteria?
No, because Eminem was not influential in black neighborhoods. Nobody wanted to dress like Eminem. Nobody was listening to Eminem's music.
Eminem is the worst dresser in hip hop.
So Eminem they was listening to him in middle of America.
But Eminem influenced a lot of white kids to be like, oh, it's okay for me to wear a do-rag. I wasn't one of them, but I knew some.
He influenced pop culture. He influenced American culture. He influenced metal.
But that is culture.
That's always my thing, right?
But hip hop culture is driven by black people.
I agree.
Yeah, he didn't drive. That's what I said too. That's been my argument.
He never influenced black culture.
So would you say Eminem's not a GOAT?
He is a GOAT.
Okay.
He has to be a GOAT.
But he's not regarded as somebody who was tremendously influential.
Right.
Because I never listened to Eminem.
So the thing is, like, 50 would argue that, right? Like, he would definitely say there's an argument to
they have a relationship.
Obviously.
Also, even if you give M 10% of the 50 credit, like, hey, you get 10% of why 50 is 50 for those.
That's a hell of a credit.
But that's like Jimmy Iovine, right? I mean, is
but
Leo Cohn? That's like saying Leo Cohn.
I think that's different, dude. I think it's just different because we're talking about Eminem's the biggest rapper in the world.
Hip hop culture is American culture.
Right.
That's it, right? Hip hop culture is American culture. M influenced American culture, right? He might have brought more eyes to it. When I go to concerts, when I look, it doesn't look like me when I go to concerts, right? He might have brought attention to it. Now fans are saying like, yo, I listen to that. I listen to this person. You got to give him credit for that. Now, as far as like people bumping this shit, nah, I didn't. Right. I listened to the Eminem show. I thought it was a great album. Yeah. It's probably like the last album I listened to like front to back from him. Yeah. But I know he has great songs. I know he
great business decision, by the way.
Yeah, but I mean, he made the Rihanna joints on. I think that was Recovery.
Yeah, Recovery.
Those are pretty.
Love the Way You Lie.
Yeah, those are good songs, right? So I can't discount him and say like he had no influence.
No, his last album wasn't bad. Music Could Be Murdered By was actually.
Is that when he did the rapping at the fastest?
Like, that was the one he had like Juice WRLD on.
Is that what he was?
Kamikaze's fucking terrible.
Was he rapping like he had the Guinness?
Yeah,
the Rap God.
Rap God was that was not Kamikaze. Rap God was Marshall Mathers LP2, I believe.
Like that takes talent to do.
Yeah, but it's also like nobody wants to. Like,
nobody's gonna recite that. Yeah, it was just like, oh, that was a good piece of art that you did.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think there's a go. I mean, I got Pusha T in my top like 8, so
he's in top 8.
But my personal list, not in like the all time.
Who else is in there?
Shit. I got.
I see Lord Willing, which is a great. I think that might be a classic.
Yeah, I would say it's Nas, Ye, Hove. Hove to me is like the undisputed greatest of all time. That I just think like if I'm gonna put the real list together, he's.
I think the only one that can challenge Hove is Drake and Kanye.
The only thing with Kanye is like Kanye to me, when I put like the MC glasses on, it's a little fuzzy because I think
because he doesn't write.
That was nice.
Well, I think he gets a lot of
that was a whole lot.
But to me, I think Kanye is the greatest artist of all time. Personally, I think he's got the best discography. I think if I'm like if I had to go on an island with one guy's body of work, it'd be Ye. But yeah, I would go Nas, Hove, Ye, Andre, Kendrick, Ghostface. This is my personal list. Off the top of my head, by the way. Pusha T's up there. Rick Ross is around 10. Common for me is up there. I love Common. I just think he had like a
one guy.
You said Drake?
He did not say
not
Drake.
In my personal, no.
No, he didn't say Drake.
I got Freddie Gibbs like real high on my personal shit. I think
Freddie ever?
Just for my personal, like I think like for me, like I think Alfredo, he's got to me 3 classic albums. Like Alfredo, Bandana, and Pinata. That's just me though.
Okay. I've never listened to the music.
You got to listen to Alfredo, fully produced by Alchemist.
You know what's so crazy about this Freddie Gibbs situation? You know the only Freddie Gibbs song I ever heard in my life?
What?
The song he has with Benny the Butcher.
Oh, well.
It's actually a very good song.
Great song.
It'll never happen again.
They probably won't perform that.
Probably not.
Well, Benny still performs it because it's his biggest song.
It's his biggest song?
Yeah.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. Not the joint with Cole now?
That probably is now.
Yeah, that J. Cole song is.
I think One Way Flight is now. It's got to be his second biggest song. He still performs. It sucks because I'm tight with both of them.
It's a hell of a record, and we see Benny all the time. Benny's my guy.
No, I love Benny.
That's a classic. That's a classic. That's that album he has.
Listen to Alfredo. He doesn't have Benny doesn't have an album. He's got an album. Hit Boy. You're talking
Hit Boy.
about? Yeah.
Who did I say?
He said Alchemist.
Hit Boy.
Yeah, listen to Freddie Gibbs' Alfredo.
That's the name of it?
That was like
Alfredo's
2 years ago.
The album, yeah.
2 or 3 years ago.
Alfredo?
Yeah. I mean,
that's the one he got nominated for a Grammy for?
Mm-hmm. Great body of work. Yeah, I mean, I think, but then if I'm like putting together the list, it's different because I'm like, it's Jay-Z, Drake is in there. I got Lil Wayne real low on my shit though.
I never listened
like
to
low
Lil
as far as what, like in the top 5?
I think Lil Wayne, and I love.
This is my guy. I'm just letting you know this is my guy. No, this is my guy. since
and
1996.
I love the Carter too. I actually think my personal favorite. I like the first Carter the most.
Yeah,
for me. Hey, we got to stop the interview to tell you about our good folks at Blue Chew, baby. That's right. A lot of people keep asking me, does Blue Chew work? Fuck yeah, it does. And if you don't believe me, they'll give you a whole month for free right now if you go to bluechew.com and use that promo code BOOTLEG. That's bluechew.com, promo code BOOTLEG. You get a month of Blue Chew for free, delivered to your fucking house. All you do is pay $5 in shipping. What is Blue Chew, you ask? Well, let me tell you. It has the same active ingredient as Viagra and Cialis in a chewable tablet, but it is discreetly delivered right to your doorstep. No awkward doctor's visits. Imagine going and telling an old guy about your dick. You would prefer not to do that. I know I'd prefer not to do that, you know? But you could do it all online, bluechew.com. You don't have to go to the doctor's appointment in person no more. No, they're going to send it straight to your door, all right? Your wife won't even know it came. Your wife won't know that you came and it came, all right? So what you do is you go to bluechew.com, use the promo code BOOTLEG, and you get a month of the whole thing for free. That's right, a month's supply of Blue Chew for free, straight to your door. They also just dropped their new Mint Chewable, which is the same exact active ingredient as Levitra. So many options for you at Blue Chew to make sure your dick is right going into the springtime, baby. Look, spring break's coming. Are you going to be coming? The real question is your partner going to be coming? Not with the noodle dick. Let's be honest. Make sure that shit's hard as fuck. Go to bluechew.com, use the promo code BOOTLEG, and get a month's supply for free. And if you're dealing with erectile dysfunction, it's okay, man. It happens to the best of us. Go to Blue Chew and put a Band-Aid on that thing. Bluechew.com, promo code BOOTLEG. Also, while we're talking about our partners, shout out to our family at Odd Socks. Ooh, look at these Odd Socks underwear, man. They're half-baked. So much going on at Odd Socks. So many dope licenses, man. Shout out to, they got Cheetos, they got Jaws, fucking Oreos, Cheech and Chong, Naruto, WWE. By the way, WrestleMania's coming. I can't wait to see what dope WrestleMania socks they do this year, because last year they knocked it out the park at Odd Socks. Look, the most comfortable socks in the world. They got the Odd Socks basics that you need on your feet. All you got to do is go to oddsocksofficial.com right now. Use the promo code BOOTLEG at checkout. You'll save 20% off your total order. Underwear, socks, shit, hats, whatever you need, they got it at Odd Socks. They just got the Coca-Cola deal, so you can go get some Coca-Cola draws, Coca-Cola socks. So much always going on at Odd Socks. I'm going to always say my favorites are the WWE and the Breaking Bad ones. So go to oddsocksofficial.com right now. Use that promo code BOOTLEG, and you will save 20% off at checkout. Shout out to them. Most comfortable socks in the world. Crazy comfortable underwear. My goodness. If you ain't got Odd Socks on your feet and ass, what are you doing out in these streets, all right? Go to oddsocksofficial.com. Promo code BOOTLEG. Save 20% off. Let's get back to the interview. I think he might be the most overrated rapper ever.
Here's my thing, though.
Yeah, where did we stop this?
Can I say something?
And wait.
I'm joking.
And allow me to say I think he's one of them. Okay, you know what? Tupac's the most overrated rapper ever.
He went deeper with the dig.
He took it there.
Deeper with the dig.
No. To me, Lil Wayne, for me, when I think of Wayne, I think that he's just put out a lot of bullshit. A lot.
Since
in
when?
the same way that I think of Eminem. Like, Eminem's put out so much terrible, fucking subpar music.
Some real shit, bro. Let me tell you.
Lil Wayne has put out so much trash that we just don't even think about.
Since when, though? Since what?
What do you? Okay, the last time he put out anything that was great was the first
album or song.
No. Listen, wait.
All right.
The last time Lil Wayne put some shit out that I was like, yeah, Wayne's that motherfucker, was No Ceilings, and that was in 2009. The Carter 4 was fucking trash.
There's good records on the Carter 4.
Yeah, there's like 2 good songs.
There's
and
good
then
records.
And guess what? The best rapping on that album was on the interludes when it was like
6 foot 7 foot. Wait, 6 foot 7 foot is on Carter 4.
Okay. But also, okay, fine, great record. With that being said, Carter 4 can go right in the fucking recycle bin. Okay.
No, we're not gonna do it. Carter 4 has great records. Carter 5, I'll give you. Like, that didn't count.
You're forgetting I Am Not a Human Being and the bullshit rock album.
No. Because we still got great records on those.
No.
Because, you got
Drop the World with Eminem.
Drop the World is not. I don't think that's a great record. But you got
Produced
the joint
by
right above it's on that with Drake. That's a great record. It's right above it. Not a
I
great
like that song.
There's a great records.
intro to that HBO show that The Rock starred.
That's a fact. That licensing
fucking
and they
show.
licensed that too.
Listen.
That has great records. You got wait, because we're not gonna do this to Wayne, right? We're not Wayne. This is my guy.
And we're not going to act like 500 Degrees was good, are we?
No, we're not counting that song.
Okay.
I'm gonna be with you.
Are we going to go? Because I like The Block is Hot.
The Block is Hot is great. The Carter one is
Lights
is
Out.
good. Carter 2, like I said, is in my top 5. I think all
Lights
time.
Out.
Carter 3 is.
So are you starting Lil Wayne's career at the first Carter?
No, I'm starting with The Block is Hot because that's one of
The Block is Hot was great.
Yeah.
Lights Out was whatever.
We do, that
500
was a
Degrees
phase.
was fucking terrible.
There was a phase.
Okay, Carter 1 was great.
Changed it. Carter 2, we already know, cemented. Carter 3, classic,
And
the most commercially successful.
I do find it interesting. By the way, the new song he dropped with the DMX sample, the Swizz Beats
like
produced, is fire. I love it.
But what about the joint he just did with Swift a couple years? 5, 4, 3, 2, I let one
Can I-
go.
can I-
That's a great song.
Uptown's a great record.
Can I
yeah.
add something to
He's
this?
still putting out good rap. The verse he did with Nicki and Drake, he killed that.
No, for sure.
So he's still putting out good
Let me
verses and
Yes.
good records. He hasn't probably put out a
But
good
I just
body
think
of
when
work.
we look at his like,
let me say something about this
Because he's been here since he was 16.
You bring up a good
and
point.
now he's 41,
Okay.
and now you can critique him.
You bring up a good point, but
Same way that everybody else
This is
can.
why we gotta appreciate Pac, even though he's not the best lyricist. It's like for me, everybody's different.
for
right?
me as a rapper, Pac is, but
look,
influentially.
But look, let me.
Lyricist.
But I think Pac's probably top 2 most influential.
He's probably number 1. But the thing,
One or two.
Him,
the thing,
Ye, X.
the thing about it is this for me personally, right? And this is I put Eminem, Lil Wayne, and a variety of other artists in the same category where they're very talented and they're extremely
I put Wayne
artistic
up there
people.
with Pac in terms of
but
influence.
let's say this though, for me, right? Growing up, music used to help me get through my day,
Right.
And it was education. So like some of my favorite rappers are like AZ, and like these
Love
are things
AZ.
like, and I listen to what he's saying, and the shit that he's talking about is real shit. Like it's actually education. Like I'm learning things, I'm hearing things. I'm like, I don't know what that word means. He's rapping about real shit.
Right.
So when I hear rappers like ooga la booga dooga la
But you also
like,
love Lil Baby.
no, Little Baby's rapping about real shit. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
Little Baby is nostalgic from the 90s perspective. When he's saying like these shit that he's talking about, he's actually rapping. Like
I think
saying,
Lil Baby's the most improved rapper we've ever seen in real time.
he's
in
saying
a short amount of time.
He's saying like
mean-
Little Baby is really rapping real lyrics that's coming out of his mouth. My thing with Lil Wayne has always been, what are you rapping about? I got 6 bathrooms. I could shit all day.
Why
like
you always use that line, bro?
I'm just saying, like
you act like that's the only line
but I'm
he's
just
ever
saying,
said. Like
you rapping about
there's
things.
plenty
that
of guys who have.
that's why I like T.I.
Right.
Because when T.I. was rapping, it was real shit. Like I can understand the words that he's saying. It makes sense to me. He's telling a story. I'm getting it.
You know who also ain't rapping about shit is Drake.
No, Drake's rapping about shit, bro.
What is he rapping about besides
Love.
bitches?
That's
okay,
it.
That's it. That's it. What
but
else?
it's still at least he's rapping about something.
Okay.
Like Eminem and Wayne sometimes
my dogs.
they rap they rap 48 bars.
what I'm saying.
and-
You can
and
find
they
a critique in
haven't
anything.
rapped anything.
I
not
think
true.
that Lil Wayne
not
has
true.
such an insane amount of music out that it'd be unfair to us to say he doesn't rap about it.
That's what I'm saying. If you go
No,
listen,
I'm just saying as far as
let's
he's
now
not-
let's go back to the Carter 4, right?
No, it's not.
How to Love
he's
is
not
on
a
that.
lyricist.
How,
like
How
that.
to Love is on that album, right?
Yeah.
Is he not talking about like a real situation? That's real ass shit. You could take that one line. I could listen to Nas and say, yo, Dr. Knock Boot wasn't probably the best song to put out.
Buddha is hard. That shit is
But-
hard.
Great beat.
He's talking
Great
about
beat.
real
No,
shit.
what I'm saying is
he's giving
no, I'm
instructions.
saying-
That's a bad reference. That's a bad
reference.
That's a
Bad
bad
Hypothetical
reference.
example.
That's a bad reference.
You could find a bar that's like, yo, why do you say that?
Listen, I have to say I love Lil Wayne. I'm a fan of like a lot of Lil Wayne music. Like I feel like Dying is my shit. But that's some mixtape shit.
Mixtape Wayne.
It's incredible. But I just
We
think,
just said albums, but
I
mixtape
just
Wayne.
think like when I think of Wayne and the way he's regarded, I just don't know
Goat.
if the quality overall lines up with someone like
Who?
Kendrick Lamar or
So-
Jay-Z.
And it goes back. What you rapping
Or-
about? What are you rapping about?
Even like I think of like DMX, who maybe wasn't like I kind of look at X in the same way that I look at Pac. It was more about the delivery, the content, how it made you feel. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, like DMX and Tupac are two of the greatest of all time. Even though I said what I said about Pac, but I just like when I think of Lil Wayne, I don't know a time when Lil Wayne has ever made me feel like shit. I think of a time Jay-Z's made me feel that way. I think of a time J. Cole's made me feel that, and I don't,
J. Cole's another one. J. Cole's up there.
Is he a GOAT?
He's up there.
He's another one who doesn't have a consensus classic, even though Forest Hills Drive is a classic to me and a lot of people.
But the shit that he's rapping about,
I agree.
He's up there.
Like the fact he did a whole album about like fucking people, like this whole drug shit going
that
on.
1984,
No,
whatever, that 1982 album, whatever that song. Like
KLD was dope.
I love Cole.
That dude's different.
He's up there.
He's
Forest
legendary.
Hills.
He's legendary.
Forest Hills Drive is incredible. Like Love Yours.
That's
like,
one.
for sure.
We'll give him that
He
one.
got a lot of records too. His
records.
KLD is dope.
Cole's one of them ones for sure. And for what it's worth, this is a crazy statement to make, but I've seen when Cole was touring, whatever album that was at the time, was it Forest Hills Drive? What, 2016? So it wasn't. It was the one that had Neighbors on it. Your Eyes Only, I think.
Yeah,
I hated that album. But when he was touring that album at the same time Kendrick was touring Dan, I went to both in LA. Yeah. And J. Cole, I'm telling you, man.
So when he came out with the prison suit, he was in the middle of the...
I think they was fucking when Cole had... I went to both shows, and I feel like the energy at the Cole LA show was like 10 times crazier than the Kendrick shit.
That's crazy. We just talking about that show. That was he put on a great performance. Everything looked good. You could feel it. The passion was there. It was like, yo, he has records that belong in arenas and belong in stadiums.
For sure.
Kendrick has that too.
Yeah.
But he's mastered now the stage presence. Like his
I think
stage
this
presence
last tour, Kendrick, like,
he just took it to a different level.
Yeah,
he took it to a different level. It was like only like we only seen like Drake does it now because he has the money to have all the pyro and have all the like.
Oh yeah, like
that, it's crazy now.
Drake had that like basketball,
the 3D court and all that. Like he has the money now. It didn't start that way, but like the first person I ever see do that was Ye.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Before he even had the capital to do it.
And that's a crazy thing we think about Ye's influence. How he's influenced live shows.
He had to. When I went to the Glow in the Dark tour, I went to Kanye's first tour.
Rihanna opened. I was there.
I went to Usher's Confessions tour and Drake. No,
so that's his first tour for real.
Ye was the opening act.
Yes, actually. So my best friend's brother, like my childhood best friend's brother, is in a group called Dilated Peoples.
Oh, no.
So Dilated Peoples had a song with Kanye called This Way, but they also opened the College Dropout tour. So I actually went as like a 15-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Went to like 4 of the dates. Came out here to LA, went to the House of Blues twice, and then when he came to Phoenix, I got to meet Kanye backstage. But that show was. Did you go to the College Dropout show?
I didn't. Confessions was the Confessions show was the first time I saw him.
GLC and Consequence doing Spaceship Live, and he had the hip hop violinist chick out there, and John Legend was just up there,
just on stage,
just fucking like no one cared. Like
I'm telling you, Go in the Dark. That's when it was like this guy's different.
Yeah,
he's different, and now you can see it when you look at Trav and he got the roller coaster going through the crowd, and like he changed it. Then he had the floating stage for the St. Pablo, and I was like, no, this is the greatest thing ever. I still haven't seen a show that was better than that show when he's floating. And I'm like, that's art. And now the guys are doing it. They're seeing it and like, all right, we can take pieces of that in our own way and be creative with it. So the stage presence
a lot of these guys,
different.
the stage, but it's like, let's get back to bars. This is why I like Benny the Butcher. This is real shit. He's real rap. Nipsey Hussle is nostalgic to the era that I grew up on, where he's rapping about things that are relatable, they're understandable, he's coherent when he speaks. This is something that's important in rap music. A lot of these rappers are not that. And when we talk about the greatest of all time, you gotta have that as the component, because it's like, you could be a great rapper, but what are you rapping about?
I think Wayne is one of the greatest of all time, but to me, he's not in the top 10. And I think everybody who talks about Wayne thinks he's like number 1. I think Wayne and Kobe are kind of the same. God rest Kobe's soul. Like, Kobe fans and Lil Wayne fans are very similar.
This guy's going for it. He's just
you guys are basketball fans.
Yeah,
no. What I'm about to say is a fact.
Yeah.
Listen, if you talk to somebody who loves Kobe,
he's the greatest basketball player of all time.
He's the GOAT, or he's the closest thing to Jordan.
Because they're jaded.
They're jaded, and also they don't watch a lot of basketball. Okay, so if it's like,
they're from LA.
like where he really is like 7 or 8.
If maybe not even that. He might. There's a lot of publications that don't have Kobe in the top 10.
But so I'm saying, like at best, he's like 7th all time.
Probably.
Probably.
That's
right?
probably the
and
best
to me,
part.
that's like great.
It's still a
But you
tremendous
can't put
accomplishment.
Kobe Bryant over fucking Kareem
You
Abdul-Jabbar.
can't put it. Look, listen, when you start,
or even Tim Duncan.
Nah, I'm putting him over Tim Duncan.
when you say,
I'm 1,000%
5 rings?
Kobe
Two different
had-
dynasties on the same team?
Yeah, Kobe's in 2 different dynasties and has 5 rings.
when you say that,
That's a fact.
Made it work with Manu?
Manu's a Hall of Famer.
I mean...
Tony Parker's going to the Hall of Fame.
it's
Popovich is going to the Hall of Fame.
Okay, so you're
David Robinson's in the Hall of Fame.
David Robinson.
you can't even... Come
Tim-
on, relax.
No, they're Hall of Famers.
Okay, but relax on the David Robinson.
No, he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, but like, how much did they play together?
Tim
Okay.
Duncan was.
Where did he win his first chip?
Okay, how about you?
No. Where did he win his first chip?
It was the lockout year.
And who was on the team?
David Robinson was
Who
on
was the
team.
best player on the team?
Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan. He was
This is my thing with Kobe. Rest in peace. God bless. God bless.
I got him right there.
God bless.
I love Kobe.
Mamba mentality forever. You weren't the best player on the team, bro.
When?
On
It
three,
was Shaq.
Shaq, bro. 3 times. 3-time MVP.
Was he the best player on the final
This
two
is what I
teams?
would like to point out about Kobe.
He was the best player on the final, the last two. though.
LeBron was always the best player on the team.
Listen.
When
Can
they
we point
lost,
out something
too.
specifically?
Every single year
wait
he played,
a
he
minute.
was always
Wait a
the
minute.
best player.
Because I am a.
Well, no, LeBron's not in this conversation.
You guys
But
are big
people-
basketball.
but-
Well, LeBron's to me, it's either him or Jordan.
Right, but this is a.
But I'm just using because they some people
We
say
can
that he's
use-
better than LeBron.
They're fucking insane. And I would like to point out. Okay, Shaquille O'Neal leaves, gets a ring with D Wade in Miami.
Gets carried to a ring.
What was going on with the Lakers at that time?
Kobe
they
had
were
just
they were
co-charged.
they were scratching into the playoffs as 8 seeds and getting bounced out by my Phoenix Suns in round 1.
He got caught with a charge that derailed him.
3 years in a row.
Yes, in a row.
No, that affected him. But who's he playing with? Chris Mims.
Okay. So
Right.
then I'd like to
Swiss
circle.
Parker.
Let's circle back
No disrespect to those guys.
to
Yeah,
LeBron,
yeah.
who got to the finals in 07.
The best that ever do this shit, man. LeBron's the best.
He's the GOAT.
He's the best.
I have a fucking LeBron James toy right there.
Go ahead, keep going. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
The best
Got to
that
the
ever do
finals
this
in
shit,
07.
Yeah.
Who was on his team?
Mo Williams.
All star.
What?
He
He can't.
no, he didn't make an All-Star team.
Listen.
He did.
was
Listen,
an all-star, bro.
listen. We're not. This is what we're not going to
Okay.
do. Look, that was the worst team outside of Allen
Remember, we
Iverson.
had Eric
Out-
Snow.
Look.
Outside of Allen Iverson,
We could debate that.
That
We
was
could
the
just say-
worst team
we
ever
could
to make
just
an NBA
yo, we could
Finals.
debate
They
it.
beat
Look.
the defending NBA
We're not
champions
gonna
in the
act-
Eastern Conference
We're
Finals.
not
They
gonna
beat
act
the
like-
Pistons.
We're not gonna act like LeBron didn't have a terrible cast of characters that he
I
carried
think
to the
Daniel
finals.
Marshall was on that.
Are y'all
Stop
done
it.
or
We're
y'all
not
finished?
going to do that. That's what we're not going to do.
Y'all
That's what we're not going to
Are y'all
do.
done or y'all finished? You could debate that, or we could just say facts. Was Mo Williams an All Star?
Yes, once I believe.
Was-
One
I-
time
I'm not-
because of
can I
LeBron.
fin- can I
Because
finish?
of LeBron.
Can I finish?
What do you do without LeBron?
Can I also finish?
Because of
Are you,
LeBron.
Was
are you
Ilgauskas
about to
not
say?
an All-Star?
Oh God,
They're All Stars, right? I'm just saying.
who was
facts.
the other big man in the East?
I'm just saying facts.
Yo.
Ben Wallace?
They had to have 2 big men.
Yo, I'm just
The
saying.
team was terrible. The team
I'm
was
just
terrible.
saying that those guys are All Stars, right?
Allen Iverson
Right?
might have been the only team worse.
Now you go back to that Laker team
give you
and you tell me the second best player.
What Laker team?
The ones he's talking about.
That went to the finals?
No. The teams when
Exactly,
when it's
they didn't
Chris
go to
Mims.
the finals.
I'm telling you to name me the next best player.
LeBron James didn't have a good
Just
team.
tell me the next best player.
Let's look. I'll tell you right now.
If you tell me Medvedenko, I'm out of here.
So would we?
Yo, I'm out of
So
here.
we'd agree that 2006, 07, they were 42 and 40, and I think they were the 8th seed. So this is where
This is when they lost to the number 1 seed Suns.
correct the Phoenix Suns of.
Tim Thomas.
Okay, wait a minute.
Tim Thomas is on that team. He hits the
Do you
shot.
want to
in
know
his
who was
face.
on the team in 06?
Yeah.
Andrew Bynum was an All-Star.
That's a fact.
He
That is a
wasn't.
fact.
No, he wasn't.
He's the first round. He's the
Maybe
first
not
pick
that
in
year.
the draft.
Okay.
He's the first-
Wait. Can we agree?
He was not an All-Star in 06.
He's the first pick.
Can we agree at the very least?
First pick in what?
Can we
In
agree?
high school? What are you talking about?
Can we agree that one of the greatest role players and 6 men of all time before crack hit him was Lamar Odom?
That's a fact.
Because he was on the team.
That's a fact.
He was
Lamar
on
Odom
the
was better
team.
than anybody on that Cavaliers team. That's a fact. Lamar
Lamar
Odom
Odom's
is
better than anybody on the
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Keep
Lamar
going.
Odom is better than
Keep
anybody on
going.
that Cavs team outside LeBron.
Keep going.
Fact.
Okay, look, it does get bad after. You got fucking
Andrew Bynum is in one.
Sasha Vucevic, who was I mean,
Starting. That's the starting guard.
But look at LeBron's team.
Chris Mims is the starting center, not Andrew Bynum.
If you're supposed to be better than LeBron, get out of the fucking first round.
If you're supposed to be better than LeBron, win a championship. And he did that in 09 and 10, and he lost in 08.
Yeah, because Jerry West served him up Paul fucking Gasol on a fucking plate.
No, the NBA did a disservice by not letting them have Chris Paul, and that's how they got Paul Gasol.
Because they felt bad. And
they should have done that, right? How do you say you can't trade them to the...
I love Kobe.
Yeah.
He's like 7'3".
I love Kobe too.
Yeah.
I love Kobe.
Tim Duncan's better.
He's not better. No. Tim Duncan. You want to talk about influence? Tim Duncan has...
Can we talk about
zero.
Tim Duncan beat in the finals?
Tim Duncan is the worst dressed NBA player of all time.
Oh, yeah. It's the worst jeans. No. Yeah, he is. He's worse than Jordan. But Jordan's jeans, can we have... Jordan was wearing Jinkos.
But Tim Duncan wore sandals, bro.
Yeah.
With
but he's
jeans.
not, he never tried to beat.
Who cares?
Drippy.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's just the worst.
He's still a hell of a player.
Yeah, no, he's a Hall of Famer. He's probably top 10. He's just not ahead of Kobe.
Probably top 10.
Yeah, probably.
Impeccable. His career has been impeccable.
Nah, he's a one of the
Probably
top
10?
He's top 10.
Tim Duncan?
He's top 10. I'm gonna give you that. He's top 10.
Greatest power
He's
forward
the
of all
best. That's
time.
what I'm saying. You're the best in your position.
The greatest of all time, and there's zero discussion.
How skewed is that, right? If Michael Jordan's at the 2-guard position,
Okay.
you can. Oh, you're not
Tim
the best
Duncan
at
is
your
the
position?
Michael Jordan of the power forward position.
And
The only
Kobe's
person
number-
who's going to be
after-
close is
after
Giannis.
Jordan, it's Kobe, right? At
Tim
number
Duncan
2?
is the greatest of his
At the
position.
2.
Yes. Kobe's the
You got-
second best.
You got Jordan in front of
I'm
you, bro.
just saying,
Who's
Tim-
he have in front of him? Or who's chasing him?
It was probably before Tim Duncan came along. It was
Karl
people would
Malone?
say Karl Malone. But then
He's not even in your top 10.
I mean, he also
2-time MVP, and he's not in your top 10.
I mean, he fucked a 12-year-old. You know what I mean?
That did happen. No, that did happen.
I'm so surprised, by the way. Just side note, the fact that they had that motherfucker up there judging the dunk contest when all he did was anyway. Shout out to Karl Malone.
Hall of Famer.
Well, listen, man. What is next for Earn Your Leisure?
When does this come out?
Probably Wednesday of next week.
So we got a big show in LA. You guys invited if you want to come.
March
at Novo,
11th.
Live show?
Novo Theater, March 11th.
March
That's
11th,
huge.
y'all.
Congrats on
Yes,
that.
Thank
appreciate you.
Market Mondays live. We're gonna bring out a lot of surprises and guests.
You guys got to plug me with the investor guy you guys do Market Mondays with.
Ian.
Oh, yeah, he's gonna be there.
He's out here right now.
he's
Actually.
with us.
Yeah, for sure. He's gonna be at the show. So we got a lot. So we're doing a world tour actually
Okay.
for Market Mondays, and the first stop is LA. After LA, we go to Toronto, then we go to London, then we go to Chicago, then we go to Ghana. So
Wow, that's dope, man.
yeah. So it's a live show, and our live shows are different.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a seminar. Like it's entertainment, it's theatrics, it's education,
Fact.
it's all of it. It's a vibe. Like people wearing their best clothes. Like it's dope.
You're going to see a mixture of it all, man.
So Novo Theater, March 11th, dope, and then we got a bunch of different stuff we cooking up. InvestFest, we working on that. We're gonna announce details on that. That's our financial literacy festival. That's our big thing that we do in Atlanta every year.
dope.
So
Yeah.
this year is gonna be even bigger than it was last year. Last year we had Tyler Perry, Steve Harvey. We had 14,000 people. So this year we're looking for
Fuck,
20,000.
man, that's
So
huge.
Yeah.
it's gonna be crazy.
Third year, 3,000, 14,000, 20,000.
And then just a bunch of other things, man. More content, more ways to expand on the education. We have a podcast network. So Earn Your Leisure is a media company. We produce podcasts.
So you guys have podcasts under the umbrella?
Yeah,
seven.
7 shows under the umbrella. They all doing well. So yeah, man, just looking to keep expanding.
Who do you guys want to interview that you haven't interviewed yet? In terms of, obviously we know you want to interview Drake, and you want to interview Lil Wayne. But I mean, in terms that you guys think you could have some, like I think the Ross interview was incredible because you guys
Appreciate it.
kind of went over some of the franchise shit, and I think you and LaRussell made a lot of sense. In terms of like what y'all do, who's somebody you guys really want to talk to?
I always say it, and I'll say it until he sits next to us. And I think it's going to happen. Sean Carter.
Yeah.
I think Jay-Z makes a lot of sense.
Of course.
I think
That's the one, right?
Yeah, just from a standpoint of where we started, especially writing financial literacy lesson plans, it started with him, and that line that he had in Reasonable Doubt, which is his first album, obviously, all black Scottish sports and entertainment until we even, and so just peeling that line apart and dissecting it and really like seeing like, wait, let's try to debunk this, let's try to show value in other different ways outside of those two things to show that we can be anything we really want if we had the education and the resources around it. Just having him there from that line to this, I think, definitely my number one.
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
I think, just thinking on the biggest scale possible, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Aliko Dangote, who's the richest black person in the world out of Nigeria, Warren Buffett.
I think the Musk thing could happen.
Elon Musk, I think it definitely could happen.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just about, him being aware of it in the right space. It's like Kanye. I feel like he'll do anything if it just depends on how he wakes up in the morning. Like, you know what I mean? But the Elon, I think, that'll break the internet.
Did you guys like? Do you like? I mean, what do you guys feel about Twitter since he's taken over?
I was never really huge on Twitter. I appreciate Twitter because it's like you just go in there and just say your random thoughts and get off. Like it doesn't.
I use it for like sports news and like random shit.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not as addictive as Instagram for me.
right.
So I appreciate Twitter. I think I don't see anything bad.
I just feel like Elon's like we're just kind of like watching the trial and error of like this really rich dude just
We'll figure this thing out.
firing 80% of the staff and then figuring it out on the fly. So it's kind of cool. It's like to me, it's like kind of cool to be like, this motherfucker's so rich. He's just using this shit as like.
Yeah, it's another asset, and then it'll be a private company, and then it'll be, we'll figure out what he does with it. But it's a place for people to. It's a new form of news for a generation, right? Like I used to read the newspaper,
right?
Or I used to watch the news, and now it's like people just go to their phone. It's like, oh, new tweet, something just happened in the world,
right?
I mean,
Elon that'll be big though.
Last question. Let's say someone's got 10 grand saved up. You guys have covered a bunch of industries on your show, whether it's the vending machine hustle or the trucking shit, or there's so many ways people can get money. If you guys were talking to somebody who had $10,000 of like, that's not all the money they have, but they got 10 grand to start a business with or to try to invest, or how would you suggest them? What would you have them do with that 10 grand if you're advising?
The first thing is to formulate a plan before you just really think about what you want to do, right? Because you could do vending machines, you can buy some stock, you can, depending on what part of the country, and then you could potentially buy real estate. But it's going to be hard to do anything successful if you don't really have a plan in place. So I would say before you do anything, educate yourself, sit down with a pen and paper, and physically write out a plan of like what you think is your best option. Mm-hmm. And then from there, like I said, you could do either one of those things. But like you can always invest in stocks with very low amount of money. You can invest in stocks with $1,000. So if you want to just now you're not going to turn that 10,000 to $1 million,
right?
But at least it'll be working for you over the course of time. If you want to start a business, like I said, some low costing businesses you had mentioned, vending machines, you can definitely start that business for under $10,000.
So you guys say you got 5 at your school you went to?
Yeah.
5. It's pretty profitable too.
Yeah.
I think it brings in like $3,500 a month, something like that.
That's great.
So
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man. It was like there was an opportunity there. It's something that we know it was needed. The school didn't have any.
And you guys just hire someone to go refill it?
Hey, he's right there. He runs a vending machine business for us. But it was a great way to give back to our school. We didn't see anybody doing anything like that. And
right.
The best part is that we give a percentage of every month of the revenue. We give back to the senior class.
Wow.
Right? So when we talk about economic hardship, how do we combat it? Well, what happens if we can subsidize what the prom course was or what the yearbook was or senior dues? Give money to the senior class so they don't need to have bake sales or they don't have to have these raffles.
Right.
They're actually creating their own economy. The kids that are in the school spend money in the vending machine.
And they get a piece of that back.
And everybody's going to be a senior at some point.
Yep.
And so everybody benefits.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate y'all pulling up.
thank you for having us, brother. Appreciate it.
March 11th, the Novo.
Yeah, March 11th. Go to
Pull up.
Go to earnyourleisure.com under the Market Mondays World Tour tab. And if you're in LA, Southern California, or the West Coast, period, pull up.
Make the drive,
This is
man.
our first time we ever doing a show. Because we've done shows all around the world. New
Right.
York, London, all over. But this is our first time ever doing a show in LA on the West Coast, period. So
That's a huge, that's a dope venue, legendary venue.
yeah, we got the verses. We got the verses there. With
Versus.
It was Ray
Mario.
J and Omarion versus Sammy and Mario.
No, that was the undercard, but it was Mario versus.
I remember.
You was
Who was it? It was Mario versus Omarion.
I always tell everybody that was the R&B version of the Dipset Locks joint because I think a lot of people were like, Dipset. And I was like, no.
You went in thinking Mario the whole time?
No.
Oh.
I didn't think that, but I think that what happened was Omarion has definitively more hits than
Right.
Mario, but Mario actually sang
Yeah.
better performer.
Yeah.
He performed. He sang his heart out, and like Omarion was eating watermelon.
No, people knew the song.
That's a fact.
He did that. We were like,
I couldn't even fucking believe it.
And Tim's, he's eating watermelon and Tim's on.
And
like,
he's from LA wearing Tim's in LA. I'm like, what's happening here?
It was
watermelon
interesting.
thing
It
was
was an
crazy.
interesting night.
It was interesting.
But we were front row for that Dipset Locks battle. Row.
That was fucking crazy.
We were there for
Yeah,
that.
Corona was in the building.
Legendary.
Yeah. Well, look, the 11th, Novo.
Yeah.
Go watch the podcast. How many Market Mondays on Monday? How many like pieces of content you guys usually dropping in a month?
Well, Market Mondays comes out every Monday.
So that's 4.
Earn Your Leisure comes out every Tuesday.
So at least 8.
Yeah,
At
at least.
minimum.
And then you guys clip everything, and
Yep.
there it is, man.
At the minimum.
Appreciate y'all pulling up.
Yeah.
Big fan of you guys, man.
Thank you, man.
Keep killing
Appreciate
it.
it.
Yes,
Dope.
sir.
Appreciate you.